Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Today is Wednesday, October 16th, 2024, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. Cash App $ ORIONNWSF or the YouTube Super Chat right here. We got the NLCS game number 3. The series is tied up 1-1 for the Dodgers and the Mets. Los Angeles Dodgers versus the New York Mets. First pitch is going to be here in roughly 8 minutes. So let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get into the starting lineups. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Oh, baby, I am ready for this one here tonight. And on the thumb on the left, we have Shohei Ohtani. And on the right, the Shohei Ohtani equivalent for the New York Mets, Francisco Lindor. Now let's get into the starting lineups here first for the visiting Los Angeles Dodgers. Leading off for the Dodgers at DH, Shohei Ohtani. Batting second, playing right field, Mookie Betts. Batting third, playing first base for the Dodgers, Freddie Freeman. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, third baseman, Max Muncy. Batting fifth, playing left field, Teoscar Hernandez. Batting sixth, playing second base, Gavin Lux. Batting seventh, catching tonight for the Dodgers, Will Smith. Batting eighth, playing shortstop for LA, Tommy Edman. And batting ninth, playing center field, Kike Hernandez. And on the mound for the Dodgers, it is Walker Buehler. And now let's get into the starting lineups here for the home New York Mets. Leading off for the Mets at shortstop, Francisco Lindor. Batting second, playing third base, Mark Vientos. Batting third, playing left field, Brandon Nimmo. Batting fourth, batting cleanup, first baseman, Pete Alonso. Batting fifth, playing right field, Sterling Marte. Batting sixth, DHing tonight for New York, the former Dodger, J.D. Martinez. Batting seventh, playing second base, Jose Iglesias. Batting eighth, playing center field, Tyrone Taylor. And batting ninth, catching tonight for New York, Francisco Alvarez. And on the mound for the Mets, Luis Severino. And we're going to be shooting for 20 likes within the first hour, 30 to 50 overall, and obviously 100 in the donos on every single stream. And like I mentioned multiple times on the stream, make sure you guys are taking care of your mental health. You know, addiction, depression, anxiety. These are things that not only people are going through now or may have in the past. So if you feel like you're slipping into the darkness a little bit, you'll make some minor adjustments to your daily routine. If you're not exercising, exercise. If you're eating fast food, eat healthier. Listen to 30 minutes of music every single day. And if you do those 3 basic things, I guarantee you'll come out the other side a little bit faster and you'll get back to being your normal self and you can win the day. Let's go, baby. Los Angeles Dodgers versus the New York Mets. Game number 3 in the NLCS. It's tied up 1-1. The Mets got a split there in LA. What will happen here tonight? Let's find out. Let's get it, baby. I'm ready. Daniel in the building. What's good? Let's go. And hopefully this will be a little bit more entertaining than the game last night. Started off a little lackluster, and obviously the Yankees got out to an early 3-0 lead, and then about halfway through the matchup, you definitely got to see the Guardians try to come back, but a little bit too much Aaron Judge, and anytime Aaron Judge homers in a matchup, you already know that it's going to be pretty tough to be able to beat that, and Yankees are up 2-0. We'll see if the Guardians can at least win a game or two in that particular series, but I feel that this series is going to be a little bit more competitive than obviously the Yankees and the Guardians. We are in the Final Four. Can't wait to see what happens here tonight. Let's get it, baby. Shout out to all the new subs within the last few weeks. Appreciate it very, very much. We've gotten to 20,605. So 95 subs away from 20,700. And hopefully before the year is up, we can get close to that 21,000 number. Thank you to everyone that has liked, subbed, donated, commented, shared, or done anything positive to be able to promote the channel. I appreciate you guys very, very much. And again, on the mound for the Mets, Luis Severino. Fire photo right there. I like that. And representing the Dodgers, Buehler. It is Walker Buehler. Leading off for the Dodgers here in a moment, Shohei Ohtani. Batting second, right fielder, Mookie Betts. And batting third, first baseman, Freddie Freeman. Let's go, baby. I am ready. All right, let me get everything situated with all the volume. There we go. Got that all situated, ready to go. Hopefully you guys are situated and ready to go. And hopefully we end up having a competitive matchup here at Citi Field. Let's go, baby. All right, baby, let's go. And if you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 20 within the first hour. That'll help us hit the algorithm. And one thing about the crowds in New York, whether it's Yankees or Mets, they're going to bring a lot of passion and energy. And it's not like the Mets get to this point that often, not as often as the Yankees. So I definitely feel that the crowd will be a deciding factor here tonight. Severino at home this season, 7-2 record, 6 innings pitched per start average. We'll see what he ends up bringing to the table here today against the Dodgers. In the box right now, Shohei Ohtani. All right, baby, here we go. First pitch, Severino to Ohtani. Swings at a first pitch strike. Alonso toe taps first, one away. Not the ideal start for Shohei Ohtani, but a great start there for the Mets. Batting second, approaching the box, right fielder, Mookie Betts. First pitch is outside for Severino. 1 ball and no strikes. All right, Mookie, someone's got to step up, baby. Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. 1-1 count. 1 ball and 1 strike. We're in the top of the first. 0-0 Dodgers and Mets. Let's go, baby. Pitch in there for a strike in the zone. 1 ball and 2 strikes for Severino to Mookie Betts. 1-2 pitch. Pitch is outside. A little wild. All the way back to the backstop by Severino. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Mookie Betts. Two pitch. Pitch is outside. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Count is full. They definitely want to be able to get some runs early and often on Severino. But the Mets have definitely brought that passion and energy, and I like seeing that. 3-2 pitch. Got him. Down goes Mookie Betts. He thinks it's a walk, and he's about to go to first base, and he gets punched out. 2 away. Next up for the Dodgers, first baseman, Freddie Freeman. And we'll be doing Broncos and Saints tomorrow, Ducks and Purdue on Friday, and then we'll end up doing Texas and Georgia on college football Saturday. Be very busy the next few days. Should be fun. Big swing and a miss for Freddie Freeman, behind in the count 0-1. Pitch. Freddie crushes that one towards first. Behind in the count 0-2. Top of the first, 0-0 Dodgers and Mets. Series tied 1-1. New York was able to get a split in LA. Can LA do the same? Severino at the top of the zone thought it was a punch out to Freddie Freeman as he walks towards first, but gets called ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. One, 2. Pitch is inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Two pitch. Got him. Wow. Down goes Shohei Ohtani. Down goes Mookie Betts. Down goes Freddie Freeman. What a fantastic start for the Mets here on Wednesday evening. Nice job by Luis Severino. He's bringing all the juice here tonight. Now let's see who's up next here for the Mets in the bottom of the first. Leading off for the Mets at shortstop, Francisco Lindor. Batting second, playing third base, Mark Vientos. And batting third, left fielder, Brandon Nimmo. Let's go, baby. So far, so good for Severino. And I'm very interested to see how the defense looks and the pitching looks for the Dodgers as well. Let's go. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 20 within the first hour so we can hit the algorithm, 30 to 50 overall. And obviously, we'll be shooting for 100 in the donos on every single stream. Let's go, baby. And on the mound for the Dodgers here in the bottom of the first on the road, Walker Buehler. All right, let's see what New York has to bring here on offense in the box. Someone that's been as hot as anybody, Francisco Lindor. Now, if you didn't have Shohei Ohtani or Aaron Judge, obviously the two players after those top two that would have gotten AL or NL MVP would have been Francisco Lindor for the National League, obviously behind Shohei Ohtani. And in the American League, obviously, it would have been Bobby Witt Jr. All right, Walker Buehler, show me something. Let's see what we got going here with New York. Leading off, shortstop, Francisco Lindor. First pitch is low and at the knees. 1-0 count. 235 average, 2 homers, 7 ribbies here in the postseason. In the NLCS, only 1 for 7 there. Pitch is high. 2 balls and no strikes from Buehler to Lindor. Two-0 pitch. Popped up. Kike is there. 1 away. It's all good. Bottom of the first, 0-0 Dodgers and Mets. Walker Buehler on the mound. Next up is Mark Vientos. Big swing and a miss behind in the count. 0-1 from Buehler to Vientos. 378, 3 homers, 11 ribbies with an OPS over 1,000 here in the postseason. Big swing and a miss behind in the count. 0-2. Nice pitch by Buehler. Bottom of the first, 0-0 Dodgers and Mets. Nobody on. 1 out. 0-2 pitch from Buehler to Vientos. Pitch is outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. One-two pitch. Did he go? He did not. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Buehler to Vientos. Two pitch. Fouls it off himself. Count remains 2-2. David in the building. What's good? Pitch is outside. 3 balls and 2 strikes. How you doing, David? What's good? I figured we'd have more people, hanging out and watching the games. I guess nobody really cares about playoff baseball unless their teams are in it. So, 3-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Walker Buehler. Nice punch out there on Vientos. First strikeout. 2 away. So hopefully we'll get a few more people to come through. If not, I will end the stream and I'll just spend time with Paisley. So obviously my time is worth something, and I'm not going to put in all this time and effort and energy if we're not going to end up getting the support that we need. So we'll give it a little bit longer and we'll see if we get people to come through and show some love. And if not, I'll just watch the game with Paisley, and we'll be back at it tomorrow for the Broncos and the Saints. Oh, spaghetti and meatballs. That sounds good. 0-1 pitch. I've been actually craving spaghetti and meatballs. That stays fair. Nice job there by Brandon Nimmo. But I actually have been, kind of craving spaghetti and meatballs. And then I did see the never-ending pasta bowl, with all the different pasta options at Olive Garden that you can have with the chicken Alfredo, the shrimp Alfredo, spaghetti and meatballs, endless breadsticks, all that. So Britt in the building. How are you? How's the shirt fit? Everything fit nice? Yeah, unfortunately, with all the injuries that you got, man, I mean, it's like you got Spencer Rattler out there, you know, and he actually showed a little bit of promise, even though Tampa Bay's defense kind of roughed him up with some picks and some sacks. But no Olave, no Rashid Shaheed with surgery. They don't really have a whole lot available, at least offensively. So I don't really know if that's going to be that high scoring of a matchup. It might end up being a little low scoring, and there's a chance that Patrick Surtain will not recover from his concussion that he had on Sunday on the first play of the game. So if they don't have Surtain, that defense is not the same. And obviously, offensively, the Saints are missing a lot of pieces. So I don't really know what to expect for tomorrow's matchup, but hopefully it'll be a little entertaining. How's it going, Brett, David, Daniel? 2-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Down. Oh, that's only 2-2. I thought that was strike 3. 2-2 count to Bueller to Alonso. Pitches outside. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Six of 7 hits allowed with 2 strikes for Walker Bueller. Really hasn't been the same pitcher as he was a few years ago prior to the injuries. Awesome. I'm glad you love it. You know, I like being able to you know, do something nice, you know, for someone that I care about. And, you know, again, I'll end up getting my own at some point, you know, but I figured I would take care of you first. So. And then when, you know, donos get a little bit better and we go through the process and everything, I'll end up getting you that other one, obviously, sometime next month. Big swing and a miss. Down goes Pete Alonso. A very fast inning there for the Dodgers. And we're knotted up here at 0 as we go to the top of the second. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. And I'm just going to kind of play it by ear here for the first maybe 45 minutes to an hour. And if we don't get anybody to come through and support, then I'm going to end the stream. Because like I said, I'm not going to sit here for 3-4 hours if we're not going to get the love and support. So I can always spend time with Paisley and go for a walk or watch the game with her. So, but a little surprised that the viewership is like this here tonight. I guess nobody really cares about the Mets or the Dodgers. So, I mean, not really a whole lot going on today anyways, being a Wednesday, but he's up next here for the Dodgers. Except for the Dodgers in the cleanup spot, third baseman Max Muncy. Batting second, left fielder Teoscar Hernandez. And batting third, second baseman Gavin Lux. Yeah, but normally we have more people in the room than just a couple people that started off. I mean, it's not like I'm doing a stream at like 9 a.m. or 10 a.m., you know? I mean, it's 5:25 Pacific, 7:25, you know, in the Midwest, and 8:25, so. How's it going, Megan? Yeah, but I don't think I've ever seen it this low, you know, with 25 minutes in, so You know, I just spend a lot of time and energy and effort in what I do. So it's like if I'm going to spend an hour, making a thumbnail and going through the process of getting all the photos and starting lineups and the stats, you know what I mean? Like, this is, my full-time job and my grind, and I just want to make sure that I feel appreciated for the hard work that I'm putting in. And, if we don't have enough people, coming through, if they don't care about Dodgers and Mets, then, why should I, right? Like, what's the point of doing a stream if we're not going to get support? So, pitches inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Top of the second, 0-0 Dodgers and Mets. How long do you have to wear the brace for? Is that something you got to wear for a few weeks, or is it like a few months? Pitches inside. 3 balls and no strikes. The Max Muncy. Count. Smash towards first base, foul. 3 balls and 1 strike from Severino to Muncy. 3 months, day and night. That's a long time. Well, I hope that you'll be able to manage, the discomfort the best that you can. 3-1 pitch, and that's a walk. Next up for the Dodgers, left fielder Teoscar Hernandez. Yeah, your main hand, your main typing hand. Well, if you end up having some spell check moments, we will forgive you. No big deal there, especially with the injury. 1-0 pitch. Pitch is high. 2 balls and no strikes from Severino to Teoscar Hernandez, former Blue Jay and Mariner. Oh, that's good. So you had an original brace, and then you had to get an upgraded one. 2-0 pitch. Pitch is high. Out of the zone, but called strike. 2 balls and 1 strike from Severino to Teoscar Hernandez. Pitch is in the zone for a strike. 2 balls and 2 strikes. But I'm just thinking, like, if people don't care, about the Yankees and Guardians or the Mets or the Dodgers, or they only care about one team, we could do something else. I could do like an NHL game or something else, but, a little surprised, with all of the grind, of doing all those Mariner games throughout the year. But again, it's not really the most ideal Final Four. The Mets and the Guardians are kind of boring if we're being real. Obviously Dodgers and Yankees are exciting, but obviously the World Series numbers would be better than, the NLCS or the ALCS. Nice hit by Teoscar. Oh, okay. So you had like a cast, and now you got like a little bit of soft brace to have a little bit of maneuverability and whatnot. So we're 30 minutes in, and like I said, I put a lot of time and energy and effort and everything I do, and I'm just gonna end the stream and just delete the stream, because like I said, I'm not gonna, put in all this effort if we're, well, I guess I got to stay around now for a little bit. Appreciate you, but like I said, if we have minimal people, I'm used to that and whatnot. But thank you so much. I appreciate you. I can get you, some photos and whatnot. But it's kind of confused. Like, if this is the final four, like I'm very shocked on as far as who's here and who's not. So. Well, I got to get you photos first. I mean, especially if you're going to support, some people support, some people never will support, but throw to first, one away. But let me know what you want to do for photos and whatnot. And again, it kind of is up to you, because again, that's like, I'm not used to having this little amount of support, for doing a game of this magnitude. So. I mean, it's like I don't expect a crazy amount, but for just all that time and energy and effort, just for just a couple people. So because my time is worth something, you know what I mean? So, but let me get some photos for you. Well, actually, now I have to pretty much, I have to do the stream now because if I end the stream, then who knows where your donation goes, if it ends up disappearing and it just goes right into Google and YouTube's pocket or not. So I gotta keep going. So I obviously, if this is my full-time job and I got to be able to pay bills and I got to be able to, kind of be strategic on what I was going to do. It just is kind of, I could have ended up doing like an NHL stream, instead or something, something that we could have had maybe a few more people to be able to enjoy. But I always appreciate you, supporting. But again, I have to stay now. So let me know what you want to do for photos, and I got you. And then hopefully we'll get a few more people to come through, and then maybe we'll end up hitting a good dono number to make up for it. So. That one chop foul. I just got to keep it honest and keep it real. I'm not going to be one of those people that lies or, acts like everything's okay when it's not. I'm always going to let you guys know what's going on. But I do appreciate you very, very much, for the support. And hopefully we'll get a few more people to show some support as well. Pitch is high, 2 balls and 2 strikes. I would rather do something for you. You just let me know what you're wanting, and that'll make me feel good. So 2-2 pitch. But it definitely is a learning experience, and sometimes you have to go through these learning experiences, where you put a lot of time and energy and effort into something and you're not getting the results that you feel that you deserve. So if that's the case, I'm probably not going to do a whole lot of the Guardians and the Yankees or the Dodgers and the Mets until we get to the World Series. And then if we end up getting Dodgers and Yankees, then maybe I'll do some of the games. But if it ends up being one or the other, I might just say skip it altogether and then just do NHL instead, or figure out something else. At least something that I can enjoy, like if the Kraken are on or something of that nature, Nice little bloop single there, 1-0 Dodgers. Yeah, I mean, because again, I can't control what people do when people show up, when people don't, so if we're going to hit the algorithm, if they're going to help us out with some recommendations, or not. But again, if it would be a little bit different if this was just like a part-time for fun thing, and then no big deal. But when it's like, you have bills to pay, I got a pup to take care of, this is my full-time job, you want to make sure that, you're doing everything in your ability to succeed. And just a little weird, for the short amount of grouping of people initially to start off, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah, we can do some Kraken once we end up getting into a commercial break here. On tour. Sounds good. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Stacks on stacks. Racks on racks, little cactus jack, bang, bang. And again, if you didn't show up when you did, we probably would have ended. So, and I don't like ending streams early. I really don't, but I have to look out for my mental health as well, Next up for the Dodgers, shortstop Tommy Edman. Pitch is high, out of the zone. 1 ball and 1 strike to Edman, even though that was clearly out of the zone. Yeah, they don't give the notifications, I think, to anybody. It's been like that for years. It's just pretty much, if you look on the social media, whether it's the Instagram or the Twitter /X or just going to the YouTube page and looking at the community notes, that people typically know, or I'll say what I'm doing in the previous stream so people have an idea of what we're doing that next few days. So like tomorrow we'll be doing Broncos and Saints. Friday we'll do Ducks and Purdue. And then on Saturday we'll do another college football matchup. We'll do Texas versus Georgia. Wow! What a catch in the outfield. Teoscar tags up 2-0 Dodgers. Wow. Tyrone Taylor could have seriously got hurt out there, almost ran into his teammate, Marte, and was able to get that catch when the ball was almost on Marte's kneecap. Holy cow. That was one of the best catches I've seen in the outfield where 2 guys almost collided but didn't. Wow. Ends up catching that ball and hitting Marte's leg, and they luckily did not collide into each other because that could have been very serious. Wow. Next up for the Dodgers, center fielder Kike Hernandez. My goodness. Yeah, and you never got to worry about apologizing, Megan. You always go above and beyond, and there's a reason why you have a role on this channel and the support that you bring, so we appreciate you. Top of the second, 2-0 Dodgers, runner at first. 0-1 pitch to Kike, behind in the count, 0-2. And there he goes, strike 3. Kike Hernandez is down. Let's get some photos up here for Megan. Appreciate you. We're at 20:80 to go. And Severino is wheeling and dealing. For the Mets here in the bottom of the second, right fielder Sterling Marte. Batting second, DHing in the 6th hole, J.D. Martinez, the former Dodger. And batting second baseman, Jose Iglesias. All right, see if we can get some cracking photos up here for you. Appreciate you. Not sure if they're going to have any good quality ones of Brandon in this new uniform. So let's see what I can find if there's anything. Usually we'll have to probably wait a few more games, and then we'll have more of our new stud defensemen. Only a few games in, so it's up to those photographers to be able to get as many photos as possible. But hopefully I can find at least a couple. We're at 20:80 to go. There's our guy. And again, Stevenson coming over from the Vegas Golden Knights and Montour coming over. These are going to be huge additions, and it's going to definitely equate to more dubs for us, 100%. When you can get Stanley Cup champions to come over and give that experience to Seattle, that's going to be big. Especially when you get a guy that just won it, obviously on the Florida Panthers, who were very close the year before and then finally got it done. I'm looking, not a whole lot available just yet. I imagine there'll be more as the season goes on, but pretty minimal so far. But if there's anybody else that you want me to throw up, just let me know. 2-0 Dodgers. I can do regulars, whatever you're looking at. I got you. Yes, I agree. It's cool to be able to actually get two players that are pretty well known, to decide that they want to be a part of the Kraken organization. I mean, those guys could have went anywhere, stayed on that current team or went somewhere else. And I'm really happy of those two new additions. Not only do they have name recognition, but you do know that they are going to help us produce. Whether it's someone offensively, maybe like a Stevenson, and defensively like Montour. So I'm excited about them. I'm actually ready to be able to do a Kraken stream. I kind of have felt like I wanted to already do one within the first couple games, but we have other things going on. But especially I wanted to do the opening first game, but the game was on too early at like 1:30. If it was on late, that would have been the first Kraken stream of the season. If it was on at least at like 5 p.m. Pacific, but me too. Like when I ended up looking at the headlines, I was like, oh my God, really? I was like, but that's always a good sign when we can get surprised in a good way, right? I mean, we already have to go through the coaching change and hope for the best for that. But then if you can end up drafting decent, having some guys, move up, and then hopefully get better goalie play, and then see guys, just get a little bit better each game, and hopefully those guys that were on other teams can bring that championship pedigree and experience from the Vegas Golden Knights and the Florida Panthers to the Seattle Kraken. So next up is J.D. Martinez, the former Dodger. LA. Will Smith reached on an infield single to the shortstop. Muncy scored, and then Edman hit a sacrifice fly to center. Teoscar scored from third, and that's where we're at. 2-0 Dodgers on the road. One pitch from Bueller to J.D. Martinez. Big swing and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Pitch is low at the knees. 2 balls and 2 strikes to J.D. Martinez. Walker Bueller on the mound, but he hasn't really been the same pitcher since his injuries. Pitches inside, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Used to be pretty dominant where he could win 10 to 15 games a year, but as of late, ERA is pretty high compared to what it normally is, or at least it was in the regular season. We'll see how he looks as this game goes on. But not as reliable of a piece as he was a couple years ago. I think that's fair to say. Bueller with his first walk. J.D. Martinez first. Next up, second baseman, Jose Iglesias. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 20 within the first hour so we can at least hit the algorithm and then get a few recommendations, and then hopefully we can get to that 20 to 30 in the likes, and then obviously 100 in the donos on every single stream. We need 4 more likes to get to 10, and we're at 20 in the donos, 80 to go to hit the goal. Turbo, yeah, we both talked about that. That was a concern of ours, and instead of losing Turbo and gaining Montour, now we got 2 guys that could be kind of enforcers. And I imagine it'll rub off on a couple other defensemen as well, and it'll make the team overall tougher, and that's what we need. Bottom of the second, 2-0 Dodgers. Iglesias, line drive, bobbled. And Edman has no play. Now runners at first and second with 1 out. So exit velo when you see it on the screen when it has the miles per hour. So it's pretty much, after the pitcher ends up, throwing the baseball, trying to get it to the catcher. And then when the hitter hits that ball, depending on if it's a line drive or a home run, right? It's how fast that ball is traveling after it's hit from the bat of that individual. And then obviously after exit velo, you usually see distance when it's home run. So it was like, okay, this was hit 102 miles an hour off the bat, and you don't really know how fast it was going. Maybe it was going 90 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour. And then once the bat hit it, then the exit velo velocity would have made it, let's say 112 miles an hour. Oh, and then it's 400 feet. So you can tell, oh, this one was ripped. So anything obviously over 100 miles an hour, especially when you're getting into like the 105, the 110s, it's a pretty high number. And then obviously the further the distance, the further the home run. So, if you get a home run that's 400 plus feet, or getting close to 5, then it's probably out of the stadium or maybe in the triple deck. But, if it ends up being in the 300s, sometimes it's just barely over the wall, 330 and whatnot. But normally the number that's closer to 400 or over 400 ends up being a pretty good, decent, distance home run. Maybe second deck, 10, 20, 30 rows back. But, every ballpark is different with their specifications based off how their, distances are, from left field, center field, and right field. It's different in every ballpark. So hopefully that was a pretty easy explanation. I try to explain everything as if, no one knows exactly what it is, and to try to give you an idea. So, but no question is going to be a dumb question, especially, if you live in Australia and it's, that it's going to be a sport that you are going out of your way to follow. It's not like they have professional MLB teams there. So, not knowing every single rule or what every abbreviation means, I don't blame you. There's a lot of stuff that obviously if I was going to start, covering, rugby or lacrosse, and the terminology and the verbiage there, I wouldn't know everything right off the gates either. So 3-2 pitch. Pitch is outside at the knees, and Buehler's got bases loaded for the Mets. That's not good. Yeah. Plus, anyway, when you ask questions, then you can end up getting an answer, and then you can remember, and then it'll end up making you more, intelligent of that particular sport moving forward. So that way you don't feel like a little lost, or or it's in the back of your head and you're wondering, what it is, and then instead of having to look it up on Google, we'll just give you the answers. Bottom of the second, 2-0 Dodgers. Bases loaded with 1 out, and the Mets are about to get on the board, it feels like. Next up is catcher Francisco Alvarez. And I'll get some photos here lined up for you. Oh, big swing and a miss, and the bat goes flying. Wow. Alvarez was trying to go for a grand salami right there. Get the mustard and rye bread. And that bat just goes flying. And obviously they have those protective nets there for a reason, but in the past they used to not have them. And that definitely would have been a souvenir for a fan in like the 5th row. I couldn't imagine getting a bat at a playoff game, or any game for that matter. Right. The second, 2-0 Dodgers. Bases loaded. Alvarez in the box. Pitch is in the zone, takes a strike looking, no balls, and 2 strikes with 1 out. Right. You can wear your Vin Scully jersey. Or you could plan it that if you end up going to Seattle, you actually go to a Mariner versus Dodger game in Seattle. That way you can like get two birds in one stone. You know, you can watch the little Mariners. You can end up enjoying the Dodgers. You know, you can rock the Vin Scully, and then you can get a little piece of Seattle and then a little piece of LA in one outing. And got him, Alvarez. Third cake for Bueller. Nice job. Next up, shortstop Francisco Lindor. Bases loaded with 2 outs. Bueller trying to get out of a jam. Oh, yeah. You're not the only one. You know, one of these days down the road, I mean, I got a lot of ones kind of like, in the back of my brain that, if I had, more extra funds, definitely, Ichiro Teal would be fire. One pitch. Big swing and a miss for Francisco Lindor. Behind him the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Bases loaded with 2 outs. This is a great position for the Mets to be able to tie this game up if Lindor can get an RBI here or a home run. Yeah, I don't have a list of that many, but I mean, I definitely, if I was just thinking about my teams and possible jerseys, that would be like a fantasy, that if I was rich, like what would I get, I don't have that many, but I would say there's probably between the Ducks, the Buccaneers, the Blazers, the Mariners, and the Kraken, there's probably a good, I would say 15 or 20 that I could think off the top of my head that would be like cool to add to the collection, but not today, but maybe one day a couple of them. 2-2 pitch. Bueller tries to jam Lindor, and that one goes out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes. But I appreciate you coming in when you did, and obviously supporting and donating too, because if those 2 things probably didn't happen at that exact time, I probably would have said, stop this one up, and then I'll know not to do any more of this particular series, and then I can always do football, and then if football's not on, maybe NHL, and then if NHL doesn't have the Kraken or there's no good matchups, then I could have just took a day off. But I like to be able to work and grind, and I appreciate you. 3-2 pitch. Lindor with that little check swing there. 2 days off work. Cool. And like I said, even if it ends up being a little bit smaller of a crowd, big swing and a miss, Lindor goes down. Wow, Walker Bueller gets out of that jam and chirps over at the New York Met bench. But, thank you for making it worthwhile today, and then hopefully we'll get a few more of the regulars to come in a little bit later, and then maybe by a miracle, we'll end up getting to the likes and the dono goal or close, before the game actually ends. So thank you. Appreciate you. All right, end of the second inning, 2-0 Dodgers. Can't believe Walker Bueller got out of that jam, but again, that's what happens in sports. I know, Paisley. Daddy's got to work. Let's go through some of the photos here for you while we're just going through the commercial break. But this isn't the only time that you've, helped us out of a jam or got things started. So, I don't forget about the people that don't forget about me. So, and also being able to get a full-time lead mod that I can trust and can be reliable. That obviously is a little bit harder to come by. So, but hopefully one day, we'll be able to get that role solidified, and then I won't have to do it myself or, worry about backups and whatnot. So, no, you do plenty. You go above and beyond and do a hell of a lot more than 99% of the other people here, besides the other big donators and supporters. So, And even compared to the big donators and supporters, I mean, you're right there at the top, so I really do appreciate everything that you bring to the channel. It means a lot, especially if I want to try to continue to do this job full time for the rest of my life. I need people to be able to support and show up. So see if I can squeeze in a couple Hawks here for you. Hopefully they'll end up getting healthy here sooner than later. Sick and tired of seeing the Seahawks lose. Might not be my personal team, but I'm in Oregon. They're just right up north, and I want to be able to see them win, just like they did in the first 3 games. Like a tale of 2 seasons, like a Jekyll and Hyde. It's like the first 3 games we were high-stepping, feeling good. It's lonely at the top, 3-0, and then the injuries happened in that game, and then you just knew that it was going to be hard to tread water, and you might lose 1, 2, 3 games. You weren't hoping that was going to happen, but you thought it could be a possibility. And the worst case scenario ended up happening, where they ended up, having that winning streak and then the losing streak. So, the tale of 2 halves. The first part of the season, the first 3 games, and the last 3. But I truly do believe if they end up getting healthy, they're going to start winning games. It's not like the team is bad; it's just they're injured. So. Appreciate you. We'll get a few more. Next up is Shohei Ohtani. Up in the third, 2-0 Dodgers. 1-1 count to Shohei Ohtani. Oh, that one could go, either way. First I need to know, what's the injury report look at? I haven't looked at the injury report for the Hawks players. I usually will do that closer to Friday, so that way I can see who's practicing on a limited basis, who's not practicing. But any word on any of the defensive players, because offensive players, it doesn't really matter as much unless it's like a key offensive lineman, because they have enough guys on offense at quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end to make plays. But if the offensive line is hurt or the defense is hurt, that's when you lose games. And I would have to see the injury report to see if anybody is coming back. Reek Woolen or Byron or any of those guys, but I definitely could see that as a Hawks being an underdog in that game. If they were healthy, I think it's probably 50-50, because we've seen Kirk Cousins play great and we've seen him struggle a little bit, and the Falcons defense is better than it was in years past. Getting Judon, obviously from the Patriots, their best defender. Simmons, one of the best defenders on the Broncos now. Obviously they're on the Falcons as well. So and they have Jesse Bates III, that's very, very good, the former Bengal. So I feel that that's not going to be an easy game. And again, in the NFC South, it's going to be either the Falcons or the Buccaneers that win the division. So, and they ended up beating the Bucs and the Saints already. So we're looking for payback on them. So if you can end up beating them, thank you very much. We'll take that. But I don't know how that could go. I could definitely see you guys losing that game if the injuries aren't healed. Now, if guys are healed up a little bit and you at least have half of the guys back, then I think you guys can win. But be a grind. It's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be a blowout either. Regardless if the game is in Seattle or in Atlanta, it's going to be one that you would have to earn, and it could go either way. But I don't think it would be a blowout on either end. You guys need to win desperately. So obviously you guys will be the more desperate team. And sometimes a desperate team ends up being the winner, compared to a team that's already kind of overachieving the results, from most people's expectations going into the year. People knew that they would be pretty good with Kirk Cousins, but again, they've won a lot of their games by like a possession or less. So it's not like they've been blowing out teams. They've been kind of getting lucky. So, the ball bounces in a couple directions. They could be 0-5 instead of, or you can say, they could be 5-0 if it went their way. If it didn't go their way, 0-5, but 3-2 record. I think, for a team like that, they'll take that. Oh, absolutely a trap game, but I don't know if it's really trap because the Falcons are already good. It's not like the Falcons are like the Falcons from the past. If it was the Falcons from the past, I think it would be more labeled a trap game. because they don't have a defense. You know, a quarterback would have been like Desmond Ridder, you know, so it's like, okay, this team is not as good as Seattle, even with injuries, and it could be a trap game. But I think with this one, you know, if it's a trap game, maybe it's a trap game for the Falcons, but not for the Hawks, because you guys are the team that's beat up with injuries more than them. So it's probably more, if you're going to quote it, a trap game for them, you know, because if they take you guys for granted, then maybe you can win, you know. But at this point, it's not a trap game for Seattle because you guys are trying to get back on track. So trap game for Falcons, not for you guys, you know. Hopefully you guys can get the dub. I'm sick and tired of seeing them lose. I want to see them win. I gotta check up on Paisley here real quick. Give me one sec. All right, I'm back. Just got to make sure he's okay. Popped up to left field. One away. Next up is Max Muncy. We're in the top of the third, 2-0 LA. Pitches inside. 1-0 count. Pitches in there for a strike for Severino to Muncy. Muncy crushes that one into right field. Nice base knock there by Max Muncy. Next up, left fielder Teoscar Hernandez. Dodgers got bases loaded with one out. This one could get ugly quick. And once we end up getting into a commercial break, if there's something else that you want to be able to see, let me know. Like, sub, donate, comment, share, help your boy out. Hopefully we can get to at least, I'm hoping at least 20, before the stream ends. But we have to have obviously more people to be able to get to that number. So Teoscar Hernandez, big swing and a miss. 0-1 count. Yesterday's 2 years. Things go by so fast, doesn't it? It's like, especially if you have a bond with the channel or with people, and it just seems like it might have been just yesterday that you were, in LA and in Seattle, and then, a couple months pass, and then you figure out, a couple months turns into a couple years, and you're like, wow, cool kid in the building. What's good? Big swing and a miss by Teoscar Hernandez. 1 ball and 2 strikes with bases loaded. Let's see if Teo can get an RBI here. few more likes to get to 10, then hopefully we can get to 20. And we're at 20 on the dono train, 80 to go. Pitch is outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. I mean, he's been great everywhere he's been. Blue Jay fans love him. Mariner fans still love him. Dodger fans really love him because he's helping them win. Broken bat. Vientos is there, 2 away. Ended up winning the home run derby this year with the new rules. But you can definitely tell there's a different vibe with the Dodgers with Shohei Ohtani. But Teoscar Hernandez isn't talked about enough. He's awesome. Next up, second baseman Gavin Lux, 0 for 1. Let's see if he goes 1 for 2. Yeah, Kraken play the Flyers tomorrow at 7 p.m. Pacific. So the NFL game will obviously be on at like 5 Pacific. So right when that game is getting close to being over, then I'll flip that Kraken game on. We'll end up watching that. 0-1 pitch. Little chopper to first. And wow, Severino gets out of bases loaded. Each pitcher giving up bases loaded and not having any runs come in. That is very, very rare. Wow. Go to the bottom of the third, 2-0 LA. Next up, 0 for 1 with a K, third baseman Mark Vientos. Batting second, left fielder, 1 for 1, Brandon Nimmo. And batting third, 0 for 1 with a K, first baseman Pete Alonso. I just had to upgrade the Tyrone Taylor photo here. Something a little nicer. See how it looks. All right, that's much better. I'm a stickler for the details. We'll squeeze in a couple more photos for you. A couple minutes. Well, not a couple minutes, a couple seconds. We'll squeeze them in. 2-0 Dodgers. Paisley misses dad, so she's in here now. She says, I want to nibble on my bone, but I want you to look at me while I nibble on the bone. So now she's tired and just wants to snuggle. All right, baby, let's go. Bottom of the third, 2-0 Dodgers. Walker Buehler getting out of a jam, as well as Severino getting out of a jam. Bases loaded in back-to-back innings, which is pretty rare, and the Dodgers still have a 2-0 lead. Next up in the box, third baseman Mark Vientos, 0 for 1 with a K. Pitch in the zone for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Pitch is outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. 2-1 pitch. Pitch is high. 3 balls and 1 strike. Yeah, but I like being able to soak in everything that's going on in sports, even if it's something that's not like your primary. Because, after a little while, then it's over. And then you got to wait months and months and months just to get a little taste of that action. And, yeah, there's going to be other things that'll keep you occupied. But, Mookie! Diving catch, but he missed it at the last second. Wow. Vientos singled to right. It wasn't due to effort by Mookie, though. He tried. Nice base knock by Vientos. Next up is left fielder Brandon Nimmo. First pitch there in the zone for a strike. 0-1 count. Have to be able to keep my pup entertained in here as well. She loves Dad. Dad loves her. 0-1 pitch by Bueller to Nimmo is at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike. We're in the bottom of the third. 2-0 Dodgers. Dodgers got off to an easy 2-0 lead, but then also have left bases loaded stranded, Dodgers and Mets, in back-to-back innings. I mean, this game right now could have been something crazy like 5-3 in the third inning or even maybe higher. But again, they were both able to get out of the jams, and we're still sitting at just a 2-0 lead. So the Mets feel like they still have a shot to be able to tie it up, hopefully, within the next couple innings. Pitches inside, 2 balls and 2 strikes, especially for the Mets fans there. Two to Nimmo. Crushes it towards third. Line drive. Nice catch by Max Muncy. Right to him. 1 away. Next up, the Mets' best player not named Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso. And his name was rumored for the Mariners and many other teams as a possible guy that would be traded at the deadline. They did not move him. He ended up getting hot at the right time, right at the end of the regular season as it goes into the postseason. And that's a big reason why the Mets are here today in the Final Four in the NLCS playing the Dodgers, because of what Pete Alonso was able to do. He was able to get hot, hit a bunch of home runs, get the team motivated with Francisco Lindor, and now they're here. Big swing and a miss by Pete Alonso, behind in the count 0-2. Alonso popped up, back, but the wind is bringing it down. Back to the warning track, 2 away. That could have really got the fans going. They would have lost their fucking minds. All right, next up, right fielder Sterling Marte. 0 for 1. Let's see if he goes 1 for 2. I think I like the Yankee pinstripes a little bit more, but the Mets pinstripes look fucking good too. You know, that blue with a little slight outline of orange with those pinstripes. Regardless if you're a Yankee or a Met fan, pinstripe jerseys for New York are awesome. They look pretty sweet. Yeah, well, plus, he's a little old, and we would have had to given up a lot for a guy like Pete Alonso, a lot of the prospects, and it just wouldn't have been worth it. Some guys just, you just hope that they can stay a majority of their career as long as they're wanted, in a place for a long period of time. But we know, baseball is just like any other sport, like the NFL or NBA or NHL. It's a business at the end of the day. And sometimes you can't keep a player there for their whole career. Sometimes the player wants out. Sometimes the team wants the player out. So, yeah. Like Dodgers and Yankees, they just got that classic old school look. Like, they haven't really changed their jerseys for, really at all. So it's like you go back and look at Marte gets hit in the elbow. Hopefully he's okay. Walker Buehler beans him. And but you haven't really seen a lot. I mean, besides when the Dodgers were Brooklyn Dodgers and then they moved to LA. But if you actually look at the Dodger jerseys home and away and the Yankee jerseys home and away from back in the day in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, there's going to be slight little maybe font or depending on if they have like some kind of City Connect that they want to mix in. But for the most part, the jerseys have stayed pretty much untouched for a good chunk, and that's pretty rare. But that's also why they're so historic. They've been so good and they have such good history, both on the East Coast and West Coast. Next up is the former Dodger, JD Martinez. And JD was an awesome DH for the Dodgers for years and years and years. Almost like an Edgar Martinez, but for LA. And he's been a good addition for the Mets this season. Pitches low and at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike. We're in the bottom of the third. 2-0 Dodgers. Runners at first and second. Buehler on the mound. JD Martinez in the box. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 20 within the first hour and a half. 30 to 50 overall and 100 in the donos on every single stream. Pitches outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. The game is going by pretty quick. Already halfway through the matchup. That's one thing about baseball that's good also too, that they ended up, shortening the game down. So it wasn't 3, 4, 5 hours. It was about 2 hours and 30 minutes per game average, which is nice. Big swing and a miss for JD Martinez. He goes down. End of the third inning, 2-0 LA. Let's see who's up next here for the Dodgers. And if you got any other photo requests, let me know, and I got you. Next up for the Dodgers, 1 for 1 with an RBI, catcher Will Smith. Batting second, 0 for 0 with an RBI, shortstop Tommy Edman. And batting third, 0 for 1 with a K, center fielder Kike Hernandez. All right, no worries. Oh, Paisley's so cute. Even when it's like loud as hell in here in the studio, I got all kinds of, sports just blaring in this room. I got all this like photography lighting and everything else. And sometimes you just want to just be right next to Dad. It's a nice feeling to feel love, regardless if it's from another human or if it's from a cat or a dog or a puppy or a kitten. Like, to have that unconditional love. Obviously, it's typically more through animals than it is with humans nowadays, but it's always a good feeling to be able to give love, get love, and have that unconditional love. Changed my life forever. I'll tell you, man, if I didn't have Paisley Pup, who knows where I would be. Shout out to all the fans. 20,605, 95 subs to go to 20,700. And what's on tap for the rest of the week? We'll be doing Broncos and Saints Thursday night football tomorrow. We're going to be doing Ducks and Purdue. Special time, special day on Friday. And then on Saturday, for the first time, we're going to end up doing a very good top 5 matchup other than the Ducks and Ohio State Buckeyes. We're going to do Texas #1 versus Georgia. And I think Georgia's ranked like 5th or 6th. So 2 top 6 teams going at it, and that'll be on Saturday. And I'm actually looking forward to doing that stream for that. So let's see what the actual ranking is for them. It is #1 versus #5. That's just like what we had last week with #2 Ohio State versus #3 Oregon. Now we got #5 Georgia versus #1 Texas. Yes, please. That's must-see TV for me and any college football fan. Lots of NFL talent on both of those squads. Top of the 4th, 2-0 Dodgers. 0-1 count to Will Smith. And if you're just tuning in, Smith reached on the infield single to the shortstop, 1-0 Dodgers, and then Edman hit a sacrifice to center. Teoscar scored to make it 2-0, but teams have had bases loaded in consecutive innings, and both teams were not able to get any extra RBIs or home runs in that time period. Could be a 5-4 game right now or a 6-5 game, but again, Severino and Buehler did enough to kind of contain the situation. But at some point after these starters go out, it kind of feels like an explosion of hits and runs are coming. It's just a matter of, after the good pitchers go out, let's see what the bullpen looks like, and that's when we might end up getting to 5 runs in this game. Pitch is on the corner for a strike to Edman, but Severino and Buehler have looked a little shaky in this particular Game 3, and we are tied 1-1. The Mets were able to split the series in LA. That one chopped foul. Behind in the count now 0-2. What you watching for shows right now? You got anything new that you're watching, or something that is like an old school favorite that you're watching, or you got anything on the apps that you that has caught your eye, or something that maybe you are going to watch soon? 0-2 pitch from Severino to Edman. Pitches outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. I don't have Showtime. Unfortunately, I don't have the app. Like, I had access to it before, and if I did, I definitely would have watched that by now. I've heard it's got really good ratings, so very excited to be able to, I don't know, maybe I'll have to do like a trial, see if I get a free trial on it or something, and then I can end up watching, hopefully, that whole series for the most part before having to pay. Anything Batman related, like even when they did Gotham on Fox, I was totally into it. I loved it, watched it every week. I can go back and watch it and enjoy it as well. So, well, what's the industry about? And what network is that on? Is that on the same network? Is that on Showtime app as well? But I have heard good things about Penguin. Like I said, I haven't seen any spoilers or anything, so I'm just trying to, just go in there with an open mind and knowing that it's going to be good, and just kind of getting acclimated to the new characters and knowing their names and what they're about, and then kind of immersing myself in that environment. So, but that's definitely on the top of my list to watch. But I just don't have access to that app right now. I literally got every fucking app except for that one, but again, that's how it works, right? It's like they got to get you to sign up for every little thing just to be able to watch something, unless you have like satellite or cable too. So, top of the 4th, 2-0 Dodgers. 3-2 pitch from Severino to Edman popped up, and he is out to the shortstop, 2 away. Next up, center fielder Kike Hernandez. New grads working at a bank in London. Oh, really? It's got Jon Snow? Wow. Okay. Popped up, Kike. And that's a very easy 1-2-3 inning there for the Mets. Let's go to the bottom of the fourth, 2-0 LA. Interesting. I mean, if it's got Jon Snow, you know, obviously that will be something interesting to see how that all plays out and whatnot. Third season just started. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. And then Industry is on what? What is it on Showtime as well, or is that on a different app or Netflix, Hulu? It sounds like it would be on the same one. Like maybe Industry and Penguin are both on Showtime, but maybe I'm wrong. Because I got access to a lot of the others, and I don't think I've seen that come up on my feed as an option. So. HBO. Okay, one's HBO and one's Showtime. Okay, I gotcha. Let's see who's up here next for the Mets. All right, next up for the Mets, 1-for-1, second baseman Jose Iglesias. Batting second, center fielder Tyrone Taylor. Had to upgrade the photo because I didn't like the other one. And batting third, 0-for-1 with a K, catcher Francisco Alvarez. Foxtel, okay. Yeah, I got Xfinity, through the living room cable box, but I don't have access, to the email to be able to go through and watch some of the stuff. But I'm pretty sure we don't have HBO or Showtime, since that would be extra and whatnot. So. But I'm gonna try to find a way to watch the Penguins somehow, some way. So. Have you watched that already? Farrell, yeah. He's always been pretty good at the things, that he's portrayed for. I mean, he might not be like a top tier, compared to more famous name, but usually his performances are usually pretty good in anything he does. So, oh wow, all 6 and 4. Yeah, you were grinding it out then, huh? Bottom of the fourth, 2-0 Dodgers. Dave Roberts trying to get his team motivated here to get this dub. Danny DeVito. I wonder if I sign up for Prime, if that's a part of it, I can get that Showtime also or whatever. I'll have to look to see what kind of things they have available. I mean, I already have pretty much everything except for Showtime, and of course, Penguins got to be on Showtime so I can watch it. So, I mean, sometimes you got to sign up for something just to be able to, to get that craving taken care of. I remember I had Hulu. And then it was about to expire, and then I wasn't going to renew it, but then I had to because I wanted to watch The Bear. So, if it's Shogun or The Bear, something big that I know is going to win awards, sometimes you got to dish out that, $3 or $7 or whatever, and you can decide if you want to keep it after that. Pitch is outside, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Yeah, it's like you used to have cable or satellite, and all your problems were solved. And if you wanted to order something extra, it was like pay-per-view, and you could just do it from the phone or from your remote. Now it's like there's so many different apps and so many things that are exclusive. You know, if you really want to get all your cravings taken care of, it's like it's impossible just to have like one app. Because like sometimes that one app won't have a whole lot of stuff that's interesting. Like I feel like with Netflix, it kind of goes in spurts. Where sometimes Netflix has got some really good stuff for like a month or two, and then for maybe 2-3 months, it's not really got anything for me. And then in 1 or 2 months, really cool stuff for me, and then maybe 3-4 months, not so much. So it's like I'm definitely bouncing around on all the apps that I have. Apple TV Plus and Netflix I get free through my cell phone plan, which is nice. And then Hulu and Disney Plus. Had Prime before, but like that shit adds up after a while, especially if you have a bunch of them. Pitch there in the zone for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike to Taylor. Yeah, I know it kind of depends on what your likes are. Like, you know, if there are certain types of genres that you like, and if that app is kind of a specialist. Like, I feel like Apple TV Plus is a specialist for sci-fi. So if I normally would never pay for that, but luckily it comes through like, my cell phone plan, I get it free. But I would probably pay for it for a couple of months because some of the sci-fi shows they have on there are pretty badass. Paramount Plus, yeah. And Prime for Fallout, yeah, me too. And The Boys. 2-2 pitch. Chopper towards third. Throw to first. Got him. 2 away. Next up, catcher Francisco Alvarez. I said the same thing, right? I said the same thing because I was skeptical. Like, what's actually on this app? Are there any like actors or actresses that I actually know, that are on some of these like programs or, documentaries or shows? And, I started doing some research, just like on Google and like going through to see like what were the best sci-fi shows, through Apple TV Plus and who's in them. And then once I started seeing like who's in them, and it's not just like a bunch of rando people I've never heard of, then it made me want to explore the app a little bit more. And I think I've watched 2 series so far through sci-fi shows on there, and I've liked both of them. So like Silo was good, and then I think Severance. So I think I've watched those 2 so far. Big swing and a miss. Yeah, but Silo and Severance are very cool. Obviously, if you have any type of, if you like the future, sci-fi, Bueller, strike 3, end of the 4th inning, 2-0 LA. Wow. But I think those are the 2 best to me, and I imagine there's a couple more that I'll get into. But Silo and Severance, you'll recognize some people in each one, and I think both of them are really, really done well. You would assume that it would have been on Netflix or HBO or Showtime. It's done that well. So, and I know Silo season 2, I think comes out here in like a couple months, like in November or December, and then Severance, they're gonna do that at some point as well. So. End of the 4th inning, 2-0 Dodgers. Let's see who's up next for LA. Next up for the Dodgers, 0 for 1 with a base on ball, DH Shohei Ohtani. Batting second, 0 for 1 with a base on ball and a K, right fielder, Mookie Betts. And batting third, 0 for 2 with a K, first baseman, Freddie Freeman. Yeah, I mean, I don't drink beer and liquor as much as I did before. So usually for me, if I end up drinking something on the channel, it's usually a Monster. Not the healthiest thing for you. It's definitely an unhealthy drink, but I don't really drink coffee that much anymore either. So it's pretty much water and, milk, juice. And then I guess, I cut back on soda too. So usually the energy drink is probably the worst thing that I'm drinking on, but I do like the taste of it though. Bull in the building. What's good? If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Let's try to at least get to 10 and then 15 and then hopefully 20. 3 more to go to get to 10. Paisley is so sweet in here, just laying on the ground. I love it when my pup spends time. Like, there's definitely places that are going to be much more quiet and relaxing for her, but it's like when you have a bond and a very strong bond with like a cat or a dog, it's hard to explain unless you actually have had that experience yourself. You see people, but you don't really totally get it unless it actually happens to you. Severino, first pitch to Ohtani is wild into the backstop, into the bricks. 1-0 count. 0 for 1 with a walk in the third. In the postseason, Ohtani's only batting .214, but we know at some point he'll get hot. Popped up. Marte's there in right field. 1 away. Job interview, dog sitting. I see. Up right fielder Mookie Betts. Pitches inside. 1-0 count. There you go. I mean, whatever you feel that you can handle. If that, sometimes you got to change your sleeping pattern. But again, if you can get full-time work and it's at night and you like it, less people you have to deal with, and if it's like stalking or something like that, sometimes jobs like that can be relaxing. I used to do phone sales, which is probably the most stressful thing for like high-end companies, where I would call people in New York and Boston and set them up with like cable, internet, and phone to bosses and CEOs of big businesses. So, and then to be able to go from that stressful situation to, wow, throw to first to Mookie, got him. Francisco Lindor is a wizard, like Ozzie Smith. But then I went from doing that stressful job to doing like warehouse work where I would enjoy it, and I can get a little physical. But again, it's like I don't have to use my brain as much unless I'm, doing paperwork or, the computer work while I'm at the warehouse, depending on what my duties are and whatnot. So, sometimes it's nice to be able to, do one or the other, and finding something that, depending on what your skill set is, either white collar or blue collar work. And, but I always enjoyed warehouse work whenever I did it. It's all about the employees and the people you work with. That'll make you stay around for any job if there's cool people there. Pitches outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, good luck, man. Hopefully you get the overnight full-time position if that's what you want. Obviously, you have bills to pay and apartment to pay for and everything else. So Freddie Freeman with a nice little base knock up the middle. But good luck, and hopefully you get the job, whether it's part-time during the day or at nighttime, full-time. And, hopefully that ends up working out for you. Keep me posted. I'll be rooting for you. Next up, third baseman Max Muncy. We're in the top of the 5th with 2 outs, 2-0 LA, runner at first. Third baseman Max Muncy in the box. Yeah, I would say overnight position would be probably great for you. Heck yeah, man. Pitch is inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Top of the 5th, 2-0 Dodgers. Muncy. And Muncy's one of those guys that typically it's going to be a home run or a strikeout, kind of like a DH player typically. But every once in a while, Muncy can get some RBIs included and have like a monster game. A very dangerous player, not as famous or as much of a big name as some of the others, especially when they have like even Teoscar Hernandez there now. But before Teoscar was there, Muncy was the Teoscar type of player. The guy that would come up big once in a while. But Teoscar is a little bit more consistent with his big-time plays. And now Muncy is kind of hit or miss. But when he hits, I mean, it's gone. 3-1 pitch. Chopper towards first foul. Count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Pretty good. I mean, it was a little rainy and overcast here. Me and Paisley went on a couple long walks, tried to enjoy the weather the best that we could. Ended up watching some shows, little Gordon Ramsay, and catching up on some of the other stuff that I have in my queue on my apps, and then grinding it out, making the thumbnail for this particular show, watching this matchup, and but overall pretty good, man. I mean, I was thinking that we'd have more people and whatnot, but again, I feel like the matchups aren't really the best. Like, I don't think a lot of people in the country really care about the Mets, and I think a lot of people don't care about the Guardians, and they do enjoy the Yankees and the Dodgers, but it's just the teams that they're playing against. Ball 4 almost hits Muncy on the arm, but it doesn't matter. Muncy to first. But tomorrow we'll do NFL. So we'll do Broncos and Saints. Lots of injuries in that game. I think it'll be fun. And on Friday, we'll do the Oregon Ducks versus Purdue, special time, special day. And then we're going to do Georgia and Texas on Saturday, number 5 versus number 1. So I'm pretty excited about that. And then obviously Sunday and Monday night, we're going to do the NFL. And I know on Monday night, the Buccaneers and the Ravens play, which is going to be amazing. Can't wait for that. And then on Sunday night, it's going to be Jets Steelers, which is actually going to be intriguing. Russell Wilson supposedly is going to start over Justin Fields for the first time this year. And Aaron Rodgers obviously got Devontae Adams. So the Jets are with their backs against their wall, 2-4 record. I would assume they're going to give everything that they've got to try to get to 3-4. And they will play like more of the desperate team. And maybe we'll get an Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams touchdown. And in this first particular game together, as long as Devontae is healthy enough to play. So I'm looking forward to the action this weekend. And then obviously we got Kraken as well, so I got to be able to keep up on them. And I know they play tomorrow against the Flyers at 7, and then they play again on Saturday night against the Flames. And I know the Flames up to this point are 4-0, so I'm like, oh God, not ideal, but at that point when we play them, we'll see. And then we're 2-2, and then Flyers are 1-1, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. And like I mentioned multiple times on the stream, make sure you guys are taking care of your mental health. It literally is the most important thing for you every single day when you wake up. And again, if you are going into the darkness a little bit, you have 3 basic things you do to get your life turned around. And I can say this based off experience. Okay. So first, again, if you're not exercising at all, do a little bit, and if you can get into a rhythm and do it every day, you'll feel a hell of a lot better. If you're not eating healthy and you're eating fast food every day, cut back on it if you can. Try to eat a little bit healthier. I mean, the way that fast food costs nowadays, you can actually afford to eat healthy. It's about the same price now. It used to be cheaper for the fast food, but not anymore. Okay. And number 3, listen to some music. I feel if you listen to about 30 minutes to an hour of music, not just in your car, it really does go a long way to help you get back on track so you can be your normal self again and win the day. Let's go, baby. Next up is Teoscar Hernandez. But I know me, by doing those three basic things, I feel like a whole new human being. You know, it's just about discipline, you know, and being able to hold yourself accountable. And if you have discipline, you can hold yourself accountable and you can turn your life around, you know, and it's a good feeling. You lose weight, you look good, you feel good, you know, you're not eating a bunch of junk, you're losing weight, you know, getting the proper vitamin D and some sunshine, you know, smelling that fresh air, you know, and then obviously getting some music is always positive for the mental health. 0-2 pitch. Pitch is low and at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Yeah, me too. I second that. Like, I should have already done a stream for the Kraken. I wish that the opening day was on in the afternoon. Like I was telling Megan, I would have done that stream, but it was on at like 1:30, like the first game in a triple header. Pitch is low. Teoscar Hernandez, big swing and a miss. And the Mets get out of a jam again. Let's go to the bottom of the 5th, 2-0 LA. All right, let's see who's up next here for the Mets. Next up for the Mets, 0-for-2 with a K, shortstop Francisco Lindor. Batting second, 1-for-2 with a K, third baseman Mark Vientos. And batting third, left fielder, 1-for-2, Brandon Nimmo. And plus, like I said, you get people that, you know, understand how sports work, and you get people that don't, you know, and anyone that's like going on YouTube to actually like watch the game, that should already be a given. All right, hold on. I got to let Paisley out. Going out. All right, Paisley's done with her nap. But I feel like if you already understand how sports work, going to YouTube to actually watch the game is the last place you would want to go. Like, you know, again, it's YouTube and it's called YouTube for a reason. You know, like I said, they obviously have, you know, different streaming links to watch games. But I guess, you know, some people are in the know and some people are not. Take a look at the NFL games. We got Broncos Saints on Thursday, Pats Jags in London, Titans and Bills, Texans and Packers will be a good one. Eagles and Giants, Lions and Vikings will be a good one. Seahawks and Falcons should be a good one. Bengals Browns, Dolphins Colts, Panthers Commanders, Raiders Rams, Chiefs Niners should be a good one. Jets Steelers might be interesting. Ravens Bucks will be good. There's a lot of good games this weekend in the NFL, like more than normal. There's like at least 5 like quality games, and you know, usually I'll try to watch many 3, 4, 5 full games if I can, and red zone. So we'll be definitely very, very busy on Sunday. Michael Kopech is in the game for the Dodgers now. Bottom of the 5th, 2-0 LA. Next up is Francisco Lindor. Pitch is inside, 1 ball and 1 strike. You should be able to beat them, you would hope. 1-1 pitch. Pitch is inside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Two 1 pitch. Lindor popped up to left. 1 away. First out of the 5th. Next up, third baseman Mark Vientos. Yeah. You know, it's crazy because, like I said, there still are some good players that are there, but the team is nowhere near the same strength as they were a few years ago when they went to the Super Bowl. That's very clear. And once you start learning about like depth, you know, and certain pieces that are unreplaceable that are no longer there, then it kind of makes you understand why they're struggling this year. Popped up all the way back to the wall, and Kike Hernandez grabs it. 2 away. Vientos, 2 away. Next up, left fielder Brandon Nimmo. 1 for 2. We'll see if he goes 2 for 3. But it happens, man. The NFL, that's why the competitiveness in the games and the parity, anybody can beat anyone. I mean, the bottom 5 teams can beat the top 5 in the right day, right circumstance, right weather, right location. One team, is taking it easy on the other. The other team is giving you their A+ effort, like their Super Bowl effort. And then sometimes you get a bottom feeder that ends up beating a top-tier team. Or you can just have, bad team versus bad team. And, the team that is obviously very, very bad, that has no chance to win, sometimes ends up getting a sleeper win. Football. That one chopped foul. Count remains 0-2 to Nimmo. Nimmo fouls that one off. Count remains 0-2. Come on, Matt. Are you going to do anything here? Let's get this game tied up. Let's get some action going here. Oh, 2 pitch. Pitch is inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. One 2 pitch from Kopech to Nimmo. Got him. All right, let's see who's up next here for the Dodgers at the top of the 6th. Next up for the Dodgers in the top of the 6th, 0 for 2, Gavin Lux. Batting second, 1 for 2 with an RBI in the 7 hole, catcher Will Smith. And batting third in the 8 hole, 0 for 1 with an RBI, shortstop Tommy Edman. Yeah, the inability, I mean, obviously Chase Brown is playing a little bit better than Zach Moss, but again, like I told you at the beginning of the year, Joe Mixon, if you have a player like that still there, you're not at the win total that you're at now. You have at least one more. And, Tyler Boyd's not there. Defense isn't really the same without Jesse Bates III. And there's still, pieces. Like Trey Hendrickson is nice and whatnot, but the defense is not anywhere near it used to be. And, and Burrow and Chase are not going to be able to go off in every game like they used to. So they used to just be able to go off every game. Like if you had them in fantasy, you were scoring big, big points, and it's like you have, Chase and you got Higgins, and Higgins is still there, but he's been a little bit hurt, this season. So hasn't been available. Boyd is gone. So, every little piece matters, and again, it's like, some players like Jesse Bates III and Joe Mixon, Tyler Boyd is someone that you could obviously get similar production with that you already have, but Joe Mixon and Jesse Bates III are like irreplaceable. And after losing those two guys, you guys went from being a very, very good team to a team that's trying to tread water right now. So, but Boyd was one of the better, number 3 options on any team in the NFL when they were clicking. Because then you could go to Chase as your first option. Oh, he's covered. Boom, Higgins, who could actually be another number 1 receiver on half of the teams in the league and a great number 2. And then obviously third option, you don't expect a lot, but when Chase or Higgins was hurt and Boyd was the number 2 option, he would play like Higgins. So that definitely is missed. But Burrow hasn't been able to really distribute the football the same kind of way besides that one blow-up game he had with Chase. But really, the Mixon, a top 10 running back, sometimes playing like top 5, and then Jesse Bates III, those two guys are irreplaceable. And, if you still had those two guys, it would be a much different story than we're talking about today. It's very hard to get a top 10 back, let alone a consistent one. And then on top of that, a top 10 secondary player and actually one of the best in the NFL at his position, Jesse Bates III. So hopefully one day you guys will be able to get guys that can fill that role. Lux. One away. That was very quick for Lux. Next up, catcher Will Smith. Judah in the building. What's good? Just waiting for the Mets to try to make this a little bit more competitive. Started it off 2-0. Smith reached on a infield single to the shortstop. Muncy scored 1-0 in the second. Then Tommy Edman hit a sac fly. And then Teoscar scored from third, 2-0. Both teams have had bases loaded in consecutive innings with nothing to show for it. So both pitchers were able to get out of the jam. And then now it's kind of like we're coasting. So we're still kind of waiting to see what bullpen member is going to either step up or choke. But, at some point you would think there's going to be another explosion of hits by at least one team, if not both. But right now we're sitting at 2-0. I'm a little surprised, all that energy, from the Mets. And again, they got blown out game 1, but they had a lot of energy and swag going into the Dodgers series and then won game 2 in a blowout. And then you thought, okay, first game at home, the crowd is going to be crazy. Yeah, the Mets are going to put up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 runs within the first maybe 4, 5, 6 innings. And that's what I think a lot of people thought. They were going to bring that electricity. It would carry over. But not only has that not happened, they're at a 0. So, but each team has got 3 hits each, and sometimes you got to wait for the starters to go out, and then the game resets and starts over. So, a little shocking that, because again, Walker Buehler hasn't really been that good since his injuries. He's hittable, and Severino, is kind of hit or miss, but normally, he's on. But 2-0 Dodgers, but I don't think it's going to end 2-0. I think we're definitely going to get an explosion of runs in the next 2 innings, you would think, but we'll find out. There we go, Tommy Edman with a base hit as soon as I say that. I like that. You say it, then he does it. Thank you. Appreciate that. And again, sometimes it's those role players in the 8 and the 9 hole that you expect nothing from. And if you get anything from them, you win. Number 8, Tommy Edman. Number 9, Kike Hernandez. And those are the perfect guys to have there as it goes back to Shohei at the top of the order. And Shohei hasn't been good in the playoffs either. So it's just a matter of time. We put all the pressure on Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge to do it every single game throughout the whole year, 162 and the playoff games. But as we know, they are human. And they are going to go on slumps from time to time. And it took until yesterday for Aaron Judge to hit his first homer in the postseason. So sometimes it takes a while, but once they get hot, then they stay hot usually for a few games. So yeah, I would definitely not be betting on any of these games on the baseball side, because anything that you think that you have a grasp on, the opposite happens, I mean, the Mets to split in LA was big, and we'll see if the Dodgers can obviously do the same. Pitch is inside. 1-0 count to Kike Hernandez. You got any more sports trivia for me today to keep me busy? We started off with very minimal amount of people, and I was almost about to end the stream, but then Megan came in, and then we ended up starting a dono train, or at least we got something going. And so at that point, I got to grind it out. But I was thinking, man, I get it. Not a lot of people give a shit about the Mets, and most people care about the Dodgers and Yankees only. Let's be honest, the Mets and the Guardians are kind of boring. No offense, but if you're a fan of those teams, cool. But if you're not, nobody's watching these series for those two teams. They're watching it for the Dodgers and Yankees. You're either rooting for Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Teoscar Hernandez, Freddie Freeman to win, or you're rooting for them to lose. And same thing goes for Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, and Juan Soto. You're rooting for them to win, or you're rooting for them to choke and lose. So, because it's like, if we're going to have minimal amount of people, I want to at least have someone that we can have conversations with. And obviously we had conversations, and Megan, and then obviously we got Cole came in late, and then now you're here. So that's always good. Like, I can call the game regardless if we have hundreds of people in the room or just minimal amount, but it's always good to be able to have, regulars and have the interaction, especially if the game has been kind of, I wouldn't say boring, but it's, it had some explosion early, but you always get a point in a baseball game where you're kind of coasting, where opportunities are not met, and you're just kind of going through the motions. Kike, that one's fouled off. 1-2 count. No, you're good, Cole. I mean, there's just always going to be certain people that are going to be more engaging, than others. And if you got a book that you're reading, read the book. I'm good. I'm just rooting for you to get the job. That's what I'm really rooting for. Hopefully you get that night shift position, then you can get trained quick. You love it, get some money, and feel good about the job that you have. So, there's my guy, Kike, back, gone. Yes, sir. And like I said, sometimes it's those guys that you don't think that are going to do anything, and if you get anything from them, Tommy Edman, Kike Hernandez, you end up winning the game. 2-run home run from my guy, Kike Hernandez, the first MLB foul ball that I was ever able to get on the professional level a couple years before COVID, I believe in 2019, and I've always rooted for him extra since. Nice job, Kike Hernandez. Not good for the Mets, but huge for the Dodgers. And I love seeing players that typically are underdogs, guys that are normally only hitting 200 to 250. They're, this guy's a utility player that can play every position. They don't expect him to do anything like this. And every once in a while, like it feels like once out of every, maybe 10 games in the regular season, and then maybe every 3 to 4 games in the postseason, this type of player explodes, and it gives them that energy and that juice and that swagger. I mean, he's got the juice, the personality, and the aura and the swagger. He's just not as consistent as Shohei or Freddie or Mookie or Teoscar, but he is really well loved by the fans in LA and across the globe. And obviously, I am a diehard fan of him as well. I mean, anytime you end up getting a ball or memorabilia from a player, whether it be a bat, a baseball, cleats, a glove, a batting glove, or an actual glove, like it changes you forever, as a fan. And nice job, Kike. I'm not shocked one bit. Next up is Showtime, Shohei Ohtani. Like, my next goal is to get a Cal Raleigh foul ball. Like I said, I already got a Julio, but getting a Cal ball is definitely high on my priority list. That would be dream come true. And I know it'll happen for me. I don't go to very many games, but I just know as long as I go once or twice a year, I'll have a shot to be able to put myself in a position that hopefully the ball comes close. And if it's within a couple seats or a couple rows, you best believe I am a honey badger and I will have a shot. Oh man, Shohei Ohtani fouled that one off almost his groin. Right on the upper thigh, right in the twigs and berries, right in the biscuits. And if you've ever fouled off a pitch or got hit in Pop Warner football or in high school in the cup, in the growing area, yeah, it doesn't feel good. Oh, the 4 hitters. So 4 hitters. I'm just trying to think of guys off the top of my head. So you had like Dante Bichette, Andres Galarraga, right? Larry Walker, Crown Jewel. See, she even came in and she had to. She's like, I got a good one for you. Andres Galarraga, Larry Walker, and then I guess I just have to look at the names and see them. Andres Galarraga, Larry Walker, Dante Bichette, and that's just off the top of the head. I'm not on Google. It's just me collecting cards and watching games and remembering. Okay, I got to look at your question. Okay, Rockies. Dante Bichette, Andres Galarraga, Larry Walker. And it shows you like how quick, there's no time for me to be typing anything and like cheating. Like I'm just gonna, I feel like people don't realize like the amount of reading and film. Like I feel like if we as a channel were on like a Sports Jeopardy and we played against other channels, we'd whoop the shit out of a lot of people. Like I feel the amount of knowledge we have as a group is, but again, I gosh, man, it's like on the tip of my tongue, and I'm trying to think of just like my childhood and back then. You have to think though, back then I'm like young. So at this particular time, I mean, I'm like 8, 9 years old. I'm 42, 10, but I still got that memory. But I feel oh man. Man, yeah. I'm trying to think, like, and I know as soon as it gets put on the screen, I'm like, fuck, I should have known that, I think 3 out of 4 within the first 5 seconds was pretty damn good, especially, I'm not a Rocky fan myself, so. Man. Like I said, Andres Galarraga, right? Larry Walker, Dante Bichette, and then there's one more. All right, give it to me. Who is the 4th one? And then I will keep this in my Sheldon Big Bang Theory memory bank, so that way the next time this kind of question comes up, that 4th one will be easier for me to remember. But 3 in the first couple seconds without cheating on Google or any app, I would say, for baseball knowledge, I feel like my baseball, football, wrestling, basketball knowledge is top tier. So. Oh, Ellis Burks, correct? That's the hardest one out of the 4, though. You know what I mean? Let's be honest. Like, is that what it is? And again, it's like if you don't know baseball, like names like that, you're not going to remember. So, but that's definitely the hardest one. That's why I didn't remember, because like when I think of him, I don't think of him on that team. I think of him on Boston. Like when I'm thinking of like Mike Greenwell, the Roger Clemens, when he was there, but like Mike Greenwell, was like kind of a staple, even though that's not like if you're an old school baseball fan and you're over like 40, then that name is like familiar. But if you're under 40, and if you pass that little window of 5 to 10 years, you might not, remember or have the cards or collected back then. But there's always going to be those few years, I feel, for me, that were like really special. So it's like from, maybe from 85 until like 95, it's like there's a lot of knowledge of like jobber players, good players, and just random players that I should have no idea or I shouldn't even remember. Like, why the hell do I remember like Doug Drabeck, and Rob Dibble, Walt Weiss, sometimes it's not the Jose Canseco, Mark McGuire, but sometimes it's the Carney Langsford. And I think that if you are like me and you ended up watching a lot, and collecting cards or just watching games or interacting with friends, like sometimes like that, it's kind of like they try to be able to say, well, dudes can just randomly name off players and colleges and schools and teams and that get this name drop, and that's just what certain dudes do. But it's true, like being able to name drop a bunch of jobbers in a particular era or good players, I think is kind of impressive to the sports knowledge. Pete Alonso struck out swinging, 4-0 Dodgers. Yeah, but you gotta admit, the EB, like nobody remembers. I feel like I'm a fanatic and I'm hardcore, but nobody even remembers him on that fucking team. They remember the big three, the ones that I mentioned right away, and I'm like, who the fuck is the fourth? Like I couldn't even think of it, But then as soon as you put EB, and then I'm like, all right, who the fuck is EB? And then I gotta think, I gotta dig deep. Okay, but if you wouldn't have said Red Sox, that one would have took me a little bit, but. I mean, think about how many baseball players back then, hundreds and thousands that were named EB with initials. So I'm proud of that one. I got that one pretty quick. So, but again, we're the Northwest sports fanatics. We're not average here, right? We're not just a bunch of fair weather bandwagon, fans. So. But you have to understand the amount of back when I was a kid, like NBA was king, in that Jordan era with Magic and Bird, and then obviously into Shaq and Penny Hardaway, Iverson, Kobe, but I feel like it's not even close to what it used to be for me. Like NBA used to be my favorite sport. Now I barely can watch it. Like I try, I can watch Blazers and go to a Blazer game in person, and I can watch the Blazers even if they're terrible, but it's like, I feel like other teams, the presentation, the best thing that the NBA had was the fucking TV show, and then they blew that up. So, but I feel like 80s and 90s basketball was so much more entertaining than what it is now. Like the players aren't as good. They're lazy. They, have a hangnail. They're out for 5 games. Nobody fucking plays defense. Everyone shoots threes, even the guys that are 7 foot. Like, it's a little ridiculous, and it's not marketed well. Like, there's not enough good teams to go out of your way to watch. I don't know anyone that's going out of their way and be like, oh my God, I got to go watch the fucking Orlando Magic. Maybe back in the Shaq Penny era, but like nobody is saying that now unless you're betting for a parlay. Tell me I'm wrong. It's like, that's the only reason people are watching the NBA and college hoops anymore. It's like, as far as the quality, it's not what it used to be. I hope it gets better, but Ellis Burks. That was a tough one. If the Red Sox were my team, I would, know numbers like very good. But obviously, being a Mariner fan and supporting the Dodgers for my dad, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if I would have numbers. I mean, sometimes numbers are hard even if for your own team, unless you are hardcore. Like 24, 50, 51, Ichiro and Randy Johnson. But I feel like, sometimes numbers is even on another tier of sports trivia. Yeah. It's us versus us. And Oregon has a 0% chance of losing to Purdue. Not trying to be like, oh, we're the best in the world. No, it's kind of amazing that, Alabama and Georgia and a lot of the top tier teams, Michigan, that normally used to be good, but if they lost their coaches and recruiting is different, college football is up in the air for the very first time to get a championship. It could be SEC, it could be Big Ten, like legitimately. And Alabama isn't as good. Saban is gone, retired. Michigan doesn't have Harbaugh. So Texas and Oregon took those 2 spots, right? But still, nobody knows. Georgia and Bama have already lost games, which is weird. Michigan is not very good this year, right? Oregon and Texas are at the top, but that doesn't mean that we're going to stay there. And I feel it's almost like the weakest college football has been, but also it's the most even. So I feel it actually is more exciting this year because you're going to have the playoff, and literally Texas, Oregon, Georgia, Bama, Ohio State, it doesn't matter. Anybody can beat anyone, and it kind of feels like the title is up for grabs, which would be kind of cool. And it also gives a chance to a team that might not be in the top 5. Maybe they're 6th or 8th. Maybe they get hot, and maybe that's one of the teams that's in the natty at the end. You never know. I just like, if you have over 100 Division I teams, you shouldn't have like a BCS or a playoff system that only rewards 4 teams, 4 colleges out of 100. The NFL's got 32 teams, and almost half of them go to the playoffs, right? But you get a good amount, 12 plus. But in college, you've got 100 colleges, and then you have 4? So unless you're Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, or Georgia, you're fucked. Unless you're like Clemson and you have Dabo Sweeney and you recruit well, and then you get like Trevor Lawrence or whatever. But unless you're like one of the rando ACC teams or out of conference, it was very difficult for a Pac-12 or a Big 12 or an ACC to be able to match like that top 4. But now college football is even. There's no loyalty anymore. Oh, you want NIL? You want an endorsement deal? Oh, you want to be a starter? You're a 5-star recruit in high school and you don't want to sit for 2 years at Ohio State and you want to play somewhere else immediately? That's kind of where things are at now. But Purdue has 0% chance. It's not going to happen. I mean, if we're going to drop a game, we could drop a game to like Washington at the end of the year. That would definitely be a game that could be dropped. That's a trap game. Wow, double play by the Dodgers. Frazier's like, yes. And I think that for people that are Big Ten fans, whether they want to admit it or not, Oregon is more than just uniforms. We pay attention to detail, and we had to be able to stand out. And yeah, we got Uncle Phil's money, but at least when we make the jerseys and the helmets and the socks, that they look good. And imagine spending millions and millions of dollars and having 10 uniform combos and they're all ugly, and they don't have any style to them, So at least we're doing it right. And if you actually have the proper uniforms and helmets, the players are going to play better. And it's a proven fact. So, not only do you look good, you feel good, you play good, but it's true. Anyone that's ever worn a suit or anyone that's ever worn a Mitchell & Ness or anyone that's ever got dressed up, you feel like a different person when everything is on point, to your haircut, to your shirt, to your pants or shorts, to your shoes or your cleats. And when everything is matching and on point, I don't know, you definitely are going to be a different person. You're going to give more effort. And I think that, if we end up losing a game, it's going to be later. But the way that Oregon was bad at the beginning of the year, had injuries, started a redshirt freshman at center after having our center go to the NFL as a top 2 center in the NFL, coming out of college, top 2. So when you miss that and you have injuries, right, and you end up going against the individual that should win the Heisman, Genty, I don't think anyone really realized what was going on. We knew, Boise State is usually Boise State, but at that point, they're like, oh, this is a garbage team, maybe a top 75 team. Oh, running back, oh, he might be okay, until he ends up being legitimately the last time we've seen a Barry Sanders type is this guy, at least based on what we've seen on film so far. It's pretty impressive. And, we'll see where it goes, but it's possible that Oregon goes undefeated. I think that the one game that we had going in, if we were going to play Oregon football, like last year with Bo Nix and Troy Franklin and Bucky Irving, that it looked like we would go 11-0 or maybe 10-1, lose to Ohio State, but beat everyone else. Since we only have certain people on the schedule, we're not going to have Ohio State, Michigan, USC every year. But it seems like this year, if we did, we probably would win all 3. But it's not going to be like that every year. But Ohio State now knows whether they want to cry about the 12-man penalty and that we were smart and we did something that now they have to try to do a rule change because they're intimidated by the intelligence of, Oregon's fucking coaching staff. That, we had the penalty, we gave them 5 yards, but they lost 4 seconds, and they could have went down sooner and kicked the field goal, and we would have lost 100%. If they get down a couple seconds before, and Will Howard isn't an idiot, and the coach has better time management, Ryan Day, they could end up kicking the field goal, and probably 80% chance that it was going in, and we would have lost. There is always a slight chance it gets blocked or it's a muff snap. Yeah, but based off the distance, we would have lost. So, I feel that, the way that the college football landscape is compared to where it was before the season started and now, I think that Oregon actually legitimately has a shot for the Natty now. I didn't before, not even close. After watching the first game, I thought we were going to go 7-5 or 8-4, and that was real. But the adjustments were made, and now you could argue that Dan Lanning is the best coach in college football. You've already seen Kirby Smart lose. DeBoer lost with Alabama, but beat Georgia. Ryan Day is kind of overrated. He's obviously a top 4 coach, but hasn't been able to win top 5 matchups. Oregon has. One with Cristobal, now one with Lanning, right? We just get hated on because we're in the Pac-12. Texas, Sarkisian is good, and we'll find out how good he is if he can beat Georgia or if Georgia and Kirby Smart win. And then if obviously Georgia wins, we are the number 1 team in the country. So should have already been number 1, but not everyone's going to vote for us. But I feel like people are going to start to realize Dan Lanning came from Georgia. You have to realize we're going to start stealing SEC recruits. So if we actually get Dan Lanning, right, and he's an SEC guy, and we can get SEC defensive players and offensive linemen, like, what do you think is going to happen? Eventually, we're going to win the championship because we're going to have big Big Ten and SEC offensive linemen and defensive linemen. And that was one thing that we were never able to recruit, being a Pac-12 school, regardless when we had Dan Lanning there. It was hard to be able to get 300, 350, 5-star offensive linemen to want to go to Oregon, or let alone the defensive linemen where you can get like a Warren Sapp or a Simeon Rice kind of pass rusher, run stuffer that could go to any school. But now, instead of being like, instead of maybe being Georgia's backup, for a year, I'm going to play right away at Oregon. I'm going there. Or, I have to wait 2 years for Bama, but I'm going to go NFL, but I can go to like Ohio State and play now. Like you have choices now, and everyone is desperate. And again, people are transferring left and right. And if you end up losing your quarterback, you can get a new one from another college right away, like Miami did with Cam Ward, and they plucked the best player from Oregon State, Damian Martinez, the running back, as well as Cam Ward from Washington State. So they went from the Pac-12 to the Pac-2, right? And then now Miami and Cam Ward looks like he's a first-rounder, and he's probably the most exciting quarterback in college football, even more than Dylan Gabriel and a few others, besides Arch Manning and Quinn Ewers when they're healthy. So, I feel that, you just have to be able to understand that loyalty doesn't exist in the NFL or college football. But now it's a fair playing field, and it's not like everyone is, getting the top recruits at Michigan, Ohio State, Georgia, and Bama, and everyone else is fucked. Imagine if you're playing a college that's got 30 NFL players and you have 1 maybe, or maybe 2. And this is over like a 4-year period, like as they progress, like every year they got guys, NFL, and then the sophomores, NFL, junior, NFL, so it'll be very interesting to see how it plays out this year, just like with this particular series with the Dodgers. And then obviously if the Yankees can take care of business on their side as well. But I'm waiting for the Mets to explode here. Where is it? Matt in the building. What's good? But I'm always going to keep it real, regardless if, Oregon's the number 1 team or we're not ranked. When we're good, we're good. When we're not, and there's no sugarcoating it for the Mariners either, or any team that, that I represent or, that we talk about. We just keep it honest. But this is the best chance that Oregon has had to win a Natty since, Chip Kelly got us there, And again, we had a couple opportunities, but our teams weren't good enough. And really the one that we should have gotten is the one that we went with Chip, and when we ended up playing Cam Newton and Auburn, that was the one that was our best team that we ever had, besides the 2001 team with Joey Harrington. Overall, that was the best team that we've ever had based off NFL players that were on that roster, but That natty was ours. But again, sometimes you got to lose and have heartache and heartbreak before you can end up winning one. And I do believe Dan Lanning will win one before he goes back to Georgia as the head coach if they fire Kirby Smart in the future. But we'll get one before he leaves. I think there's a very good possibility. The way that the recruiting trail is going, like Oregon is up there right with Georgia, Bama, and Ohio State. Like there is no separation. So if you're going to be top 5 in recruiting with the big boys and even be higher than some of the big boys, then it's just a matter of time before you get enough guys that are talented enough to take you over the top. Like when we had LaMichael James and DeAnthony Thomas. We haven't had guys since then like those guys. I want more freakish athletes, you know? I want those like top tier athletes. I want the the Tyreek Hill type of athletes, you know, the game breakers. Those are fun. I know who it is. Mo Vaughn. Is that right? Mo Vaughn? That's my guess. Does Orion win at Sports Jeopardy on the NWSF? I mean, I thought that Andres Galarraga, Dante Pichette, Larry Walker was pretty fast, you know. For me being a Mariner fan and having a fucking trivia question going for like the Rockies in the 80s and 90s, like that's when you know that that person collected a goddamn lot of baseball cards or watched a lot of fucking games. I think they spent, I think any amount that is circulated on the internet is probably not the exact amount. I think every top tier school is spending insane amount of money, especially now since they know that Harbaugh and Saban are gone. The playing field is even. Teams that were, at the top some are still there, but some are weaker. And obviously it feels like, the amount of money will never be the real amount. They can say, hey, 20 million, but do you really think it's only 20? If it's that, probably more than that, And there were, like I said, there was always going to be benefits given out illegally in college football forever. It's just a matter of if you get caught or if you're dumb enough to accept like a Range Rover, and be like Maurice Clarett from Ohio State. It's like, bro, you're like the best freshman running back. You look like you're going to go to the NFL and be like the next big thing. And you can't be accepting gifts that openly and just like driving around. Like they know that you don't got a lot of money, and like all of a sudden you have this, like, especially at that time. But now, obviously, gifts and other things are a little bit more accepted. And Reggie Bush got his Heisman back. Good for him. Pete Rose died, but they couldn't put him in the fucking Hall of Fame. Now they probably will because he's passed away. So a lot of times there's like a little politics involved in sports and in life where you have to read between the lines and see if what is being told to you on the internet, on TV, or on, any type of, way that you're receiving this news, if it's real or if it's kind of fabricated or a little bit of both. Bottom of the 7th, 4-0 Dodgers. But also, my buddy Scott, I saw him write a post, and I'll talk to him when he comes in here the next time. But I read a post after we won the Oregon game. He put on there, and he's a hardcore Duck fan. He said, this is the biggest win, since the Chip Kelly era before, he betrayed us or left us. So a lot of people don't realize, with Chip Kelly, and he'll always be my favorite based on his intelligence and his recruiting and aura and vibe. But the reason that he left the Ducks, for Duck fans that don't know, and Pac-12 fans and college football fans, Chip Kelly left Oregon when he could have stayed. He did have a dream about being an NFL coach and being a coach on the highest level, from being from New Hampshire and then being an OC and then being a head coach and trying to be able to, do that same kind of method with grown men, right? Easier said than done. But we were going to be under big sanctions, where we would have got sanctioned for probably like 5 years. All our records taken away, bowl games, everything taken away. And again, because, the way that we, would get guys like LaMichael and DeAnthony Thomas and a few of these other people, every college, is doing these same type of tactics where they have either boosters or they have individuals specifically made for those particular people for extra benefits for them or their family. And again, if a kid is, poor and he's just going to class in person or online, maybe has to have a job just to have some kind of money. It obviously would be better to have the athlete just focus on what they need to do. But as a college kid, some of these guys would have jobs, and have to manage the homework and the practices and the games and whatnot. But if Chip would have stayed, it would have brought the program back. So not only was he doing himself a favor and escaping the situation, but also, he could further his career in the NFL, which it didn't work. But now he's right back full circle as OC for Ohio State. Perfect spot for him. Better than UCLA's coach. I miss him at Oregon still. But that time has come and gone, right? But I feel like there's a lot that is like you either know or you don't know. And that's not something that they're going to publicly throw out there all the time. But, there is sometimes things happen for a reason. We had great success. It ran its course. We haven't had anyone as good as him since until now. And sometimes you got to be able to make those decisions. Otherwise, Chip ends up being like, I want to be the Nick Saban of the West Coast. You could have been. But for a chunk of those years, the wins and the bowl games wouldn't have counted. And would you have wanted that? And then we would have lost recruits to other schools that were considering us. They would have went to Oregon State or Washington or USC or Michigan, Ohio State, or anywhere else they were able to get a deal. Trivia. Reflect. Judah's doing the sports trivia. Maybe this is something that he does all the time now. He had to throw out Rockies players that hit 40 home runs that all played together. That's a tough one. But I got 3 out of 4 right away, and then he had to give me hints until I got the last one. Yeah. But again, I do a lot of reading, but again, just because you read something doesn't mean it's true, or if you see a video or whatever. I think sometimes on our social media feed, anytime someone sees something, regardless if it's someone that has reliability or not, that's distinguished, but you see something and then you assume automatically it's true. Then you got to look to see if it's actually someone real. But I think our brains are kind of wired that way. Sports rumors, this and that. You see things in the media, you just assume, oh, you have real story, and there might be some fake ones in the middle. But I think we kind of give the benefit of the doubt, and then we do a little bit more research to see if it's okay, is that really real, or is this just what they're trying to tell you to make you happy type of thing, Oh, you can do all the trivia. Captain Oreo in the building. What's good? He's like, I'm doing some research. He's like, what? I'm watching a long video of the chances of fucking Washington State losing. That's the type of fucking due diligence, right? It's having those coaches putting in the extra work. Doggy dog, watching that extra film, but not just watching film on your own team, watching against your rival and watching all the things that they do good and bad, hoping that they fuck up and then that the Huskies can catch up to them. My man. Hey, sometimes it's like that. I mean, I'd be like that watching, games for teams in the division. I always would watch games in the Pac-12 of the rivals, as well as the NFC South. Always. I want to see how good or bad and, what's going on. But again, Oregon State, Washington State, you either know or you don't, But I was hoping that the Mets would make this a little bit more interesting with a great performance like they had in Game 2, but kind of a back-and-forth type of game. 4-0 Dodgers, bottom of the 7th. Haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to at least 20 before the stream ends. We've been a little limited with viewership. I almost ended the stream. I was like, man, it's if the viewership doesn't pick up or the regulars show up, I might have to just hang out with Paisley instead and call it a day and just watch the game. But luckily, things started to pick up. And Megan hit us with our first dono on the dono train, probably seconds before I was about to call it a day. Got to save my mental health. But it just kind of stinks because you never really want to end a stream early, especially if I took an hour and a half to prep. to make the thumbnail, as well as put in all of the new photos and the positions and all the stats, and all the, preparation for every stream. I never go in blind. I always have to give myself an hour to 2 extra before the stream starts, just because like if my editing programs like starts fucking up, I might have to do a thumbnail like 5 or 6 times before I get it right, and sometimes that'll take over an hour. So if you just are like, and you're lazy as shit and you don't care about the little details, like the backgrounds and everything else and photos, then yeah, but like I have a standard not only for myself, but then to you guys. I try to give you the best of the best of the best in the presentation and the thumbnail and everything else. So I appreciate you guys being in here. Montreal Expos with Randy Johnson. The boy is a Big Bang Theory Sheldon. I imagine if we had a starting 5, that had like a trivia thing, I bet we would do pretty damn well. Especially when we have people on the channel that are as young as like, 13 to 15, all the way up to like 90. So it's like we got a really good variety of the male and female and across the globe and the age range. Big punch out. Francisco Lindor. Oh my. End of the 7th inning, 4-0 Dodgers. We're going to get a Dodger-Yankee World Series, and then the viewership will be better because, again, nobody cares about the Mets. Nobody cares about the Guardians. They both think that, this is like most people. Those teams are boring, and then you're just waiting for the Dodgers and Yankees to play each other, and then people will show up and care about it. They'll care about the Dodgers or they'll care about the Yankees. But right now, they're only caring about, getting to that point. And I don't blame them, It would have been much more exciting if it was Dodgers-Padres here. Tell me I'm wrong. And it would be much more exciting if it was Yankees-Orioles or Yankees-Astros. Because at that point, you're either rooting for the Astros to win or you're rooting for them to hit a garbage can and cheat and fucking lose, And that would be more exciting. So sometimes it's not just about the playoffs, but when you get to the Final Four, you can't have one powerhouse and one kind of and then another powerhouse and another meh. Like you got there, but it's like, yeah, you were hot and healthy to get there, and you rode the coattails of Pete Alonso. But this is a different animal if you're trying to get to the World Series against Dodgers or Yankees. You just can't play. Little, easy breezy cover girl baseball. You gotta bring your A game. Judah's like, this motherfucker is an Encyclopedia Britannica of fucking information. I mean, the name dropping for wrestlers and for NBA and for, pretty much anything, boom, 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 boom. And I like doing like the jobbers and like the, they weren't the best players, but they weren't the worst, but you remember them. Like I can go Hersey Hawkins, and then I can go Tom Gugliotta. Then I can go Roni Cycli, and then I can go Tom Piakowski. Then I can go Buck Williams. Then I can go Walt Williams. Then I can go Billy Owens. Then I can go God Shamgod. Then I can go Xavier McDaniel. And then I can go Benoit Benjamin. See what I'm saying? Like I can, and I just listed off like, probably 10 to 12 players on different teams. And sometimes it's like, I think you have that love for the game and you can name drop like that and you got that knowledge, and it just kind of depends if you grew up and infatuated with, baseball, basketball, football, hockey cards back in the junk wax era. Gilligan's. Yeah, that's the correct answer right there. All right, take care, Megan. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for donating. And obviously, it made me continue. And I don't like ending streams early anyways. But thank you for that. Thank you for the support. Hope your wrist gets better. Appreciate you. And I will talk to you sometime soon. Possibly tomorrow. We are doing Broncos and Saints. Everyone's goddamn injured in that game. And we will hopefully get a decent ball game. But I appreciate you. I know what it is, but I just remember things about people, so I got a pretty good memory. My memory is good. Top of the 8th, 3-0 count. McGill to Smith. Will Smith with the walk. Next up, shortstop, Tommy Edman. Tommy actually has been pretty good for the Dodgers. Like when they ended up getting him, I don't think people thought that he would be a part of the starting lineup, especially at this point. But again, when you can get production out of your 8-hole and your 9-hole, right? Tommy Edman, Kike Hernandez, guys that normally would probably, you would think, would hit like 200, not very good, but, we know that Kike is a utility player, can play many positions. He's got aura and vibe and juice. And those are the guys that if you take for granted, and they get something going, or they both do, you lose. Like that happens in every game. If your 8 and 9 hitter go off, chances are you won the game. And you don't even need your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to go crazy. They just need to play within themselves, and then the 8 and the 9 hitter will take care of business and win the game for you. And that's what we got out of Kike Hernandez. Again, anytime you end up getting memorabilia for a player, it changes your fan level to another level. And getting my first MLB foul ball from him. I've always liked his grittiness, and I like that he can do many positions. And again, he comes up in the clutch in the playoffs almost more than any other Dodger, which is kind of weird. Like you would think it would be someone bigger, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Max Muncy, like a bigger name player. But for whatever reason, Kike Hernandez playoff baseball, he brings out his A++ game. And when he ends up getting an RBI or homer, it usually ends up being the game winner. And I love that about a player that normally is not your top player, but not your worst, but somewhere in the middle. Out of 1 to 9, maybe Kike is, 6, something like that. Maybe 5th, 6th, 6th, 7th, 8th. He ain't the best. But again, in the playoffs, though, he is money. They're definitely getting good production here, Edman and Kike. Edman, pitch out the knees. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Count is full. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. Get us to 20 likes, baby. And we're at 20, 80 to go on the dono train. Where are we at on the likes? If you haven't smashed it yet, please do. Hopefully we're over 10, and we're closer to 15 right now. That way we only need a couple more to get to 20. Where are we at? We're at 10. We need 10 more to get to 20, and then we're good. Now we're at 11. 9 more to go. That's where we're at. 9 more to go, and then we're good. 80 more to go on the dono train, and then we good. That's the goals. He said, Mary Ann. It's amazing when you go back and look at people from different eras. There was some amazing people over the years. Every generation had them. One for 2. Nah. 1 for 3 with a run. 2 RBI K. Kike Hernandez, 2-run blast. Love it, baby. Be really dope if I can actually go down to the Dodger dugout, because I don't think a lot of people would ask him for his autograph. But if I can actually get the foul ball that I got from his hit like 5 years ago, if I could actually get him to sign that, that would be badass. Blue pen, of course. Two-one pitch. Kike. Pitch is outside. 3 balls and 1 strike. There you go. Gilligan, Skipper, Marianne, Ginger, Professor's wife. You know, and then it's funny when you think of shows like that, because then I think about MASH, you know, hearing the theme song, you know, when I was a kid, you know, and then you just think about like all of the shows that were on back then that weren't on, and I can name drop like those shows like Perfect Strangers with Malky, right? Night Court, like, you know, you know, Max Headroom, you know, you start remembering some of those things if you're old enough to remember. Top of the eighth, 4-0 Dodgers. Kike Hernandez, the hero so far. Chopper, look at Kike. Kike is a fucking animal, man. Like I said, some of his celebrations are a little bit extra for me, but he is really the glue to that Dodger team. We already know Shohei is the best player, right? Mookie and Freddie are Hall of Famers, right? But sometimes you need that extra guy, you know, to give you that juice. And he might not be as consistent as a hitter as like a Max Muncy or like a Will Smith, but it feels like you remember more of Kike's big moments compared to some of those other guys. I mean, unless Muncy's hitting like a 3-run blast to win the game, then that's different. But Kike, surprisingly, is so good in the postseason. Let's see if it can rub off here a little bit on Shohei Ohtani, who's struggling like Aaron Judge. But Shohei Ohtani at least ended up getting a little bit better as time went on, and Aaron Judge ended up homering yesterday to get off the schneid. He's like, I am good. I'm O-Dog's cousin. Imagine being cousins with Shohei Ohtani. How ridiculous that would be. Oh, Ohtani, back, see ya! Oh my! Upper deck homer. Goodbye, Kike Hernandez rubbing off on Shohei Ohtani. He's been struggling, and just like that, the ESP comes correct. I tell ya, it happens. Boom shakalaka, 3-run homer, 7-0 Dodgers. You just got to have that love for the 8 and the 9 hole hitters. And sometimes when guys are struggling, they know at some point they're going to pick it up. And what a better time to pick it up after Kike Hernandez. The sports gods are like, O-Dog really likes Kike Hernandez. Let's make it happen now. And there it is. Shohei Ohtani. Goodbye. Oh, my. My goodness. All right, baby. I love it. That's a game, baby. Because you can always tell, like Shohei and Aaron Judge, regardless if they're batting under 200, it's a matter of time until they end up getting that right baseball in that moment, you know, where they've been waiting on. And it's no doubt, you know, that it's gone. I mean, it's gone, especially that Ohtani ball. The frustration was let out on that ball. And anytime you go in the second deck, triple deck, or out of the stadium, you know, it's like, it's amazing to see like the power. It's like you're hitting steroid home runs without steroids, and that's awesome. You know, no PEDs, no Barry Bonds, no Balco. It's Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge literally being the mirror images of each other. One is Asian, one is a mixed race, one is left-handed, one is right-handed, and they give you all the power all the time. I fucking love it. Damn. It's like every game in this series is a blowout. Game 1, Dodgers by 1 billion. Game 2, we thought Dodgers by 1 billion again. What happened? Mets by 1 billion. But what? Oh, Pete Alonso and Lindor. Okay. And then now game 3, Dodgers by 1 billion. Speaking of buffets, you know what I miss? Sweet Tomatoes. Do you remember that place? You guys ever go there? It all depends if you live in Oregon or Washington. I'm not sure if they have them in Washington or how many states that Sweet Tomatoes was in, if it was like a global chain, like across the United States or the Midwest. But I had some pretty good meals back then. That was a very unique buffet because it wasn't just like a pizza buffet. Like you could actually get quite a bit of variety. I would go with friends. I miss it. They don't exist here anymore. Pitch is low at the knees. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Yeah, I think it might be only in our area. Top of the 8th, 7-0 Dodgers. Kike Hernandez, good luck rubbing off on Shohei Ohtani, and will it continue? Mookie Betts, throw to first. 2 away. Baseball is hard. Next up, first baseman Freddie Freeman. Social awareness. I mean, everyone's awareness level is going to be different, right? You know, just like reading the room. Freddie Freeman, out of all the players in baseball, I think that his eye discipline might be the best. Like, I've seen a lot of players, and Freddie is like one of those guys when you watched him on the Braves or the Dodgers. Doesn't walk a lot, and you can just tell, you know, the amount of game that he's played. Super disciplined. Didn't get a hit there, but Freddie Freeman. Mookie Betts. Shohei Ohtani. He's like, I'll take care of it. Don't worry, boys. 7-0 Dodgers. My God. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Try to get us to 20 likes before the stream ends. That would be awesome. Oh, it was ridiculous. Like, they had healthy food, but then it also had like stuff that was kind of unhealthy. And then obviously at any type of buffet that you used to go to that was available, like anywhere in the country, you have like that soft serve ice cream that you can get as much of as you want. And just like having the selection of having many types of food. I like that, you know, like, you know, sometimes you might want to have like, you know, roast beef something, and then other times maybe there's like a mac and cheese, and then maybe they have a meatloaf or something, like, you know, it's just like and then maybe fried chicken. It's like, and at the end you can end it off with this like pretty good portion of soft serve ice cream. Definitely like capped off the meal at that point. People would stay at that location in certain locations, you know, for like breakfast, and they would stay there till like dinner, you know, until like people just like stay there all day and like eat. That's how good the food was. I mean, imagine like growing up and you're like, all right, what are we doing? We're going to go play basketball. We're going to go to the card shop. No, we're going to go to this place and we're just going to eat all day there. But the food was good. Shout out to all the new subs. We're 95 subs away from 20,700. Let's go. Getting closer to 21,000. Yeah, sweet and savory. You know, for the people that think that it, like, you can't have a certain topping. It's all about sweet and savory. It's all about if you've gone to Flavor Town and you watch Gordon Ramsay shows, or if you watch anything on Food Network. You know, there's going to be certain pairings that are go great together. It's not going to be for everyone. All right, Paisley gave me the, ooh, hold on. She wanted to go explore the house. Asparagus. Simpsons is huge here, obviously, because obviously, you know, we are the state. Simpsons. Bottom of the 8, 7-0 Dodgers. Shohei Ohtani homered a billion feet, 410 supposedly. Triple decker. Will Smith and Kike Hernandez scored. Bottom of the 8, 7-0 LA. 1 for 3 with a single in the first. In the postseason, 222 with 1 home run and 4 RBIs. Brandon Nimmo. Nothing fucking Brandon Nimmo can do at this point. Santa's Little Helper. Come on, man. I'm a diehard of that show. I literally have the book that came out. I watched that shit on the Tracy Ullman show before it was even Simpsons. Like, I think I've seen every episode. I mean, that show has to be pretty fucking good to last 30 plus years. Also, a little bit of luck with a lot of the cast still being alive. That definitely helps too. And also, each individual, how many voices did they do? Because there's a few people in that show that do like a lot. You know, like 5 to 10 each. That skill. Daddy's almost done. All right, I gotta get Paisley some food. She said, I need the blueberry strawberries, Dad, now. All right, I'm back. Paisley got some strawberries, blueberries, food, popped up. Pete Alonso, 2 away. Snowball, 2. Next up, right fielder Sterling Marte, 1 for 2. It's funny, I actually just watched the first 2 episodes from this new current season today. I mean, I already watched them, but I watched them again. That's hella specific. He said, Mr. Sparkle episode, phone book, Homer. That's hella specific. Yeah. Seriously, that shit was crazy. You never know when crazy stuff like that's going to happen. Yeah, I love arcades, man. Any place like that, whether it was Wonderland, 5 cents, then they tried to go to 10 cents and stuff, take all the kids' money, right? And then they had other places that had video games, but then they had other activities that you could do, ball pitch shit and stuff like climbing wall. But I don't know. I like the places that I go to, downtown where it's 2 stories. And you can eat there, you can drink there if you want to, and they have cup holders on the sides of all the machines and whatnot. And getting into some old school games like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like Turtles in Time, or X-Men, the arcade system that's got 6 people that can play at the same time. I like being able to do Simpsons game. I always try to play that. I mean, we've beaten that, me and my best friend Justin. We've beaten it with Lisa and Marge and with Bart and Homer the first time. So it's we like to go to those type of places to see how many games that we can beat. We try to beat at least 1 or 2 games before we leave. Those are some good ones, man. Bro said he's the only Simpsons I've seen is the movie. Oh my God. That's crazy. My buddy just said Sabrina, and then something about Dame. Sabrina must have done something good. Dame must have done something good. Still takes me a while to get going into No School Calls Game for the Liberty Unreal 3-pointer. WNBA Finals. She's trying to be a champion. Go Ducks. They're on the cusp of the title. Leads New York 2-1. I'd love to see. Hokkaido, Japan. Which is inside. Top of the ninth, 7-0 Dodgers. All the Mets have to do is get 7. That's not very much. Should easily be able to tie this game up, and we'll go to extras. 1-1 pitch. Muncy crushes the fuck out of that one. Goodbye. Triple decker. Just like I said earlier in the broadcast, he's either home run or strikeout, but when he hits it the fuck out of there, and he did it again. 8-0 Dodgers. When you watch this team long enough, you already know like kind of what could possibly happen. Especially if pitching is not on point. You get electricity all up and down the lineup. And Muncy says 7-0. How about 8-0? And how about I hit it up where Ohtani hit his? How about? You got to hit it pretty fucking far to go triple deck. Those are both over 400. Joust. Big swing and a miss for Teoscar Hernandez. He might be one of the only universal players that had played for the Blue Jays, Mariners, and Dodgers. I don't really think that anyone hates him. It's kind of hard to hate a guy that, you know, you wanted more home runs and RBIs and a higher batting percentage and less strikeouts. The strikeouts is kind of the, you know, bugaboo about him. But he's really handled, you know, going from the Blue Jays to the Mariners to the Dodgers, winning the home run derby in the new format that stinks. We're going back to regular, you know, player uniforms for the All-Star game in the future. Yay. But Teoscar has been an X factor for this team. You already knew Shohei was going to be electric, but if they don't have Teoscar Hernandez, they're probably not here right now. I mean, they could still, but I think that he has made a big difference on the roster, top to bottom, offensively, defensively. You know, sometimes Betts and Freeman aren't going to get homers or play well. So they need someone to step up, and this guy's been pretty fucking good. Muncy was just waiting on that. Bye-bye. Crush that shit. Teoscar struck at. Next up, Gavin Lux. No, they're going to go Chris Taylor. Put me on the spot. Have to get to Chris Taylor. Boom. Chris Taylor. Top of the ninth, 8-0 Dodgers. 2-0 count to Chris Taylor. Oh, Teoscar Hernandez. $8-0 Dodgers. These Mets fans are just like in misery. Two. Now the Mets fans are all loud and drunk and pounding beers and screaming now since they're down. New York fans never disappoint, whether they win or then when they lose. You're going to hear them either way. Yeah, me and my buddy are big on South Park. He's into it more than I am. That guy, like, I think I've seen like every Simpsons episode for like 30 years since I watched it when I was a kid, but I think he's seen like every South Park special, like, you know. It's written really well, and that kind of smart-ass humor, you know, it just kind of just depends on what type of, you know, cartoon comedy you like, but they definitely push the fucking boundaries. But a lot of the shit they say is true, you know, stereotype or not, you know. It's like, that's what makes it funny because, you know, they make fun of everyone, and there's going to be weird fucking shit that each race does, and South Park wants to let you know about it. Top of the ninth, 8-0 Dodgers. All right, take care, brother. Hope you get that night shift job on your application. Good luck. Chopper, base knock. The bleeding doesn't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Smith single to left, Taylor to second. Next up, shortstop, Tommy Edman, 1 for 3 with a run and an RBI. Oh, yeah, we got a few minutes to go. We're almost done. Normally the games end a little bit sooner than this. Usually it's about 2 hours and 30 minutes. So for it to be still over the 3-hour mark, kind of rare. But again, when you get 8 runs, sometimes that's an explosion. Oh, they also had bases loaded for both teams in back-to-back innings and nothing happened. So that will give you an extra 30 minutes of game time. Score could be much higher right now. They could be like 11-5, something like that, if they were able to convert and keep it going. But we got Broncos Saints tomorrow, Ducks and Purdue on Friday, and on Saturday I'm going to do Georgia versus Texas. So that's must-see TV. So I'll do a stream for that. That'll be one of the first non-Oregon college football games that I'll do. I'll always consider Alabama, Georgia, because that's always an awesome game. A lot of NFL talent. But I think Texas and Georgia will be must-see TV. So let's do a stream for it. Yeah. Can't wait for that. It's be awesome. Double play. Only got the force out at second. 2 away. Ricky Henderson. Is that fast enough? No time for Google in that response. I'm not going to know every baseball trivia question, but I mean, if it's in the 80s and 90s or something that I've read, I don't know. Like I said, I'm one of those throwback people that, I like to be able to look at stats and analytics and read, and I already did a lot of it when I was young, so it's kind of became a piece of who I was. Top of the 9th, 8-0 Dodgers. Runners on the corners at first and third. We got Broncos and Saints tomorrow, but possibly no Patrick Surtain. So that defense is going to get exposed to a certain degree. But no Rashid Shaheed with surgery on the knee, and Chris Olave out with a concussion. So it's really Spencer Rattler, AK-41, and no, I believe, Taysom Hill either. So it's going to be a weird-looking offense for the Saints. But if they still have a good Rattler and a good AK, they could still keep up with the Broncos. And obviously the Broncos are going to be playing on the road. It'll be a little bit more difficult in the Dome. Bo will fuck up, but he'll also make plays. And it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. It could literally go either way. The Saints might win barely because of home field advantage in the Dome. And the Broncos might be able to win to take advantage of all the injuries to Taysom Hill, Olave, and Rashid Shaheed. That's pretty big. So starting tight end, starting 2 wide receivers. I don't know how many people could win with that out. But we'll find out if the Broncos or Saints are tough enough tomorrow. Can't wait for that game. I would rather have all those players playing to make it more exciting. Like, I need the best corner in football to be playing. Surtain, Taysom Hill, Swiss Army knife. You never know what position he'll line up. He might run a touchdown as a fullback and maybe one as a tight end. Who knows, right? And Rashid Shaheed, great deep threat. Olave, awesome. Intermediate route, a very underrated receiver. If those 2 guys actually had a better quarterback that was more consistent, they would be more of a household name. But that's a stinks when you get players that are injured. It's not good for fantasy, and it's not good for real life. Kike Hernandez chops that one foul. But we've got NFL, and then college football, and then NFL. We'll be doing Steelers, Jets. Russell Wilson's first start. And then Devontae Adams with A-Raj. That should be interesting. And then one of the best games of the weekend, even though there's like 5 of them this weekend, 5 or 6 that are actually good. Sometimes we only have 1. We have like 6 this week. Bucks and Ravens on Monday night. Baker and Lamar. Let's fucking go. We'll actually have a chance in that game. And that's one thing when Baker's playing like an MVP and the defense is relatively healthy, right? You're going to have a chance against anyone. And I like our chances of not only that, but winning the NFC South over Atlanta. And I think that this year, if we can stay relatively healthy, we could overachieve, and I think we could make it to the NFC Championship game. And I normally don't say that, but again, a lot of things would have to, other teams would have to get some injuries. We would have to stay hot, not have injuries, and then, see how it goes. But we will see. We will see how it all plays out. Let's go to the bottom of the 9th, 8-0 Dodgers, and all the Mets need to do is get 9, and they will win this easy. Next up for the Mets, the former Dodger, kind of a Edgar Martinez type, DH, JD Martinez. Always liked him on the Dodgers, and 0 for 1 right now, 2 base on balls and a K. We'll see if JD can get his former team. Batting second, 1 for 3, second baseman Jose Iglesias. And batting third would have been Tyrone Taylor, but they decided to go to Harrison Bader. Trying to throw me a loop here before I even can get the game going. Do we even have a photo of Harrison Bader? You bet your ass we do. Before the commercial break is over, boom, shakalaka. Let's go. Yeah, and their Super Bowl chances might have ended. Like the Lions could overachieve and somehow, by luck and, people stepping up and just, scoring more points than everyone else in the NFC, make it to the Super Bowl. But I highly doubt that you would be able to, make it to the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl and win without Hutchinson. It's like you probably are an underdog to begin with, even though the offense is badass. It's not like you got very good defensive players to begin with. But yeah, I agree to that. I would agree to that. I would already say right now it is Bucks, Falcons, and I think you already know that. Injuries, and even if you didn't have injuries, you guys haven't really been playing up to the Saints standard. I mean, if you can't beat the Bucks or the Falcons, and normally you do and beat their ass, then obviously it's kind of a down year, and that's just something that is a real statement. So it's not every year going to be our year, but this is nice, huh? Number 2, is that good? Gotta have that, baby. Yeah, that would be wild, huh? Tristan Wirfs, baby, that was a steal in the draft. And he wasn't even the first offensive lineman drafted. They went, I think, Andrew Thomas, Giants, and a few others after him, dummies. Like, you don't pass on a fucking Iowa lineman, only unless they're like Robert Gallery. That might have been the only, like, lineman from Iowa that was, like, a bust. But, like, they're known for tight ends. But if you hadn't watched him play, man, that's my guy. I would buy a jersey of Wirfs. I would never buy a jersey of an offensive lineman unless I felt that they were Hall of Fame or they were worthy. And the Ducks or Buccaneers got maybe a couple guys that would be worthy of a jersey. One right now, one maybe in a few years. Stacks on stacks, Rex on Rex. A little cactus jack, bang, bang. We're at 10, we're at 20, we're at 30. Thank you so much. Yeah, Penei Sewell, right? Frank Ragnow. When you got some of those guys, man, we got Harrison Barton and Wirfs, and if Barton can be like Wirfs, that's special. But it also for the Buccaneers, like I said, like I always tell, it's not only that we got one of the best linemen, in the NFL, but we also have the best safety. So it's like if you have Antoine Winfield Jr. and you look at his impact, and then you look at Wirfs, if we don't have those two players, we're substantially worse overall. Like instead of being a 10 to 12 team, win kind of ball club, you go all the way down to like 8 to 10 if those guys are not playing on the team like that. Like you're only capping out at maybe 10 at the most, and that's with, injuries to other teams and if everything goes well. So it's like, I know in that particular draft, not only did we get Brady and Gronk and AB and Bruce Arians, but if we don't have Wirfs, and we don't have Antoine Winfield Jr. and Devin White, there is no NFC Championship game and there's no Super Bowl, even with Brady. So everything kind of came together, and it's kind of cool when you have like arguably the best player at the position, top 1, top 2, top 3. And then you got same thing on the safety side too. So yeah. Again, and it's like, it's cool to be able to see some like Oregon Duck people. Like, we're actually doing like good. Like, for the longest time, it was like, oh, Oregon's quarterbacks go to the NFL and they all stink. They all get, injured, or they're all busts, or all the players. But then we started to kind of buck the trend that not every an Oregon player is going to be a bust in the NFL. There will be like, certain positions that we do good, like Haloti Ngata. No one can knock his career. Had a Hall of Fame career, was great for our school and our recruiting. And then one of my favorite players of all time, defense. That lived up to the name, not only in Oregon but in the NFL with the Ravens. Ngata. And that is it. The Oscar Bader 8-0 final. What kind of photos do you want me to be able to throw up? You want some Better Call Saul? You want something else? Appreciate all the support. Again, means a lot. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. If we can't get to 20, let's get to close to 20 as we can. And then as people watch it afterwards, some of them will hopefully like it, and we'll get a few more. So I wasn't expecting blowout, but I guess that's what's happening. Eat some dinner, go for a walk, go on an adventure with Paisley, try to dodge this rain. I think that it stopped raining a few hours ago. Hawks beating the Falcons would be amazing. I'll be rooting for you guys to get off the schneid, but you just got to be able to get the guys healthy. And once guys get healthy, you guys will start winning again. It's not like the team has everyone healthy and you're playing bad football. You're injured. So you were on the top of the mountain, 3-0. Hey, it's lonely at the top. We're good. And then you have injuries in that game, and then you knew that there would be a chance you drop 1, 2, 3 games, and literally the worst scenario happened. You won 3, and then you dropped 3. So it's like, kind of going in the wrong direction and trending in the wrong direction, losing 2, losing 3, losing 4, like that. But, as soon as you get a little healthy, the Dubs will be back. So, like on the National Tight Ends Day, right? So you can, any of these betting websites, if we have one that's like in Oregon or Washington, right? And then you can drop a certain amount of money and then, do the parlays or make like a bet. And then you end up, choosing and selecting. You're going to have to select quite a few, though. It'll be like 7, so there'll probably be 5 that would have been like easy hits, and then you get the 2 that are 50-50. And then if you can hit on the 2 that are 50-50, then you win the big money. That's kind of how it goes. And a lot of people can get to the initial 5, like it would have been like in the past, Andrews, Kelsey, Kittle, going like with the regular, top guys. And then you have to go kind of 3 others or 2 others where they score sometimes. And then you just got to think that, okay, are the teams going to, try to force the ball to the tight end because of the holiday? And then, this particular National Tight Ends Day turns into a day where maybe you can end up, we can end up being rich dogs one day. I mean, I'm a calculated mofo, I was like, I'm the type of person to like research and read before I buy something most of the time. Like I don't really make impulse buys, you know, where I'm just like with no reading or research, just buying something like, you know. Appreciate you. Hope you guys have a good rest of your night. And tomorrow we'll do, again, Broncos and Saints. Thank you so much for your support. And, again, Dodgers 8, Mets 0. I can't believe that it's been blowout after blowout. But probably won't be doing too many more of these until it ends up being Dodgers-Yankees in the World Series. You know, we'll do NHL or take a day off, and we'll figure it out. But Broncos Saints tomorrow. Oregon Ducks versus Purdue Boilermakers on Friday. And then we're going to do number 1 Texas versus number 5 Georgia on Saturday. Sunday, we'll do Steelers Jets for Sunday night. Monday, Buccaneers and Ravens. So we got a pretty cool schedule. And if you actually look at the NFL schedule, it's actually the best week probably all year up to this point. So just to give you a little heads up, Broncos Saints, a lot of people are injured. Patriots Jags, Titans Bills. First really good game of the weekend, Texans and Packers, 5-1 versus 4-2 in Green Bay will be very, very good. Number 2, Lions and Vikings, 4-1 versus 5-0 in Minnesota, lit. Seahawks Falcons, the battle of kind of the mid-card teams, 3-3 versus 4-2 could be interesting. You also got Chiefs and Niners, Mahomes and Purdy, right? And then obviously Ravens and Buccaneers, Lamar and Baker. That's pretty fucking good. I mean, even if you're not a fan of any of those teams, that's like pretty good entertainment for an NFL fan. Well, I love you guys and I appreciate you guys very much. Thank you to all the people that liked, sub, donated, commented, shared. If you haven't smashed the like button, hit it on your way out. And I got one question for you. Well, you know, talk sports like us. Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. Appreciate you guys. And I am out. Okay.